It's time for TWiT, episode 291. John C. Dvorak's in studio. Our old friend Gina Smith, the new editor-in-chief of Byte magazine, and from Engadget, Joshua Topolsky. We'll talk about the Dick Bar, Charlie Sheen. We'll even talk to Matt Mullenweg about the WordPress.com denial of service attacks. It's all coming up next on TWiT.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by Winamp for Android, the ultimate media player for your desktop and Android device, featuring wireless sync. Download it free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 291, recorded March 6th, 2011. Eggs, the silent killer. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Go to My PC. New for iPad fans, it's Go to My PC for iPad, so you can access your PC or Mac anytime. Try it today for free in the App Store and share a 30-second story by March 18th and be entered to win $10,000. Go to facebook.com/GoToMyPC. And by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to audible.com/TWiT2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter, user ID audible_com. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free 14-day trial, go to squarespace.com/TWiT. It's time for TWiT, This Week in Tech, the show that covers the latest tech news of the week. And we've had a big week, so that's why we have a great panel, starting with the throbbing Joshua Topolsky. He's the editor-in-chief. I like it. Maybe if I don't say anything, we'll just go away. Editor-in-chief of Engadget.com. He seems to be siloning a little bit.
Just a little bit, just for you.
He's a little throbbing. Great to have you, Joshua. It was a big week for iPad 2. We'll get his take on that. Matt Mullenweg is also going to join us a little bit later on. He's the CEO of WordPress.com, and they were attacked by the Chinese. We're going to get the details on that. Also in studio with me, I'm very pleased to welcome John C. Dvorak in his hunting gear.
Going out looking for ducks.
You look like Elmer Fudd in that flannel there.
I can't do that voice.
Hello. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Yeah, he looks handsome in red.
That lady is Gina Smith, my old friend, who, you know, she was on TWiT a few weeks ago. She's the new editor-in-chief of Byte magazine at byte.com, BYTE.com, which is coming back, I'm happy to say.
Yes. We're relaunching.
But Gina and I wrote my first book together. She and I worked on. She was my co-author. First TV show together, the Personal Computing Show in 1994.
First radio show.
Your first radio show on computers, which used to be John and my show, and you replaced John. But here's the thing, John. This is the amazing thing. I haven't seen Gina in 11 years.
Yes, not physically.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, it is. Not since 2000.
What camera am I on anyway? I can't figure this out. Oh,
There's no
not.
cameras here. Pay no attention to the cameras.
Yeah. We hadn't seen each other, but we've seen each other on video.
I've seen you on video, yeah.
Yeah, but that's,
She looks
no
quite-
replacement.
Anyway, it's kind of old home week because John and Gina and I worked together. We did the first pilot ever for CNET.
Yes.
What a flop that was.
We also did the first pilot for ZDTV.
Did we?
Yes.
I wasn't
We
involved
did.
in the
It
first
was a
one.
roundtable
What was it?
discussion.
No, that was
on
CNET. That was the
value-
old
That was
Stuart
CNET.
Alsop and Fred Davis. That was CNET.
Was that CNET?
Yeah.
You never did ZDTV?
It was horrible. My
No,
hair
I
was...
did CDTV, but I had my own show, and I didn't do a pilot that I know of.
You didn't need to.
You
He
didn't.
just was... We knew what John could do.
Yeah.
He's like, you know who
Poorly.
I will show, at the end of this show, I'll show the promo of your trip to Madrid. How did you have fun in Madrid?
Yeah, I had fun, but I think a lot of the other people didn't. I was very disappointed in parts of that event because I don't know that Ford really had that much to do with it.
Really?
I've got the distinct... I would like to talk to a Ford executive and clue him in on what actually happened.
Huh.
A PR guy.
But the idea, this was the Ford Focus Global Test Drive. You got to drive a Ford.
Yeah, and I borrowed one, too, and I drove it around. And
Yes,
we took off
they
and-
said you may not take it to Toledo, but
Yeah,
you did.
Of course.
You may not take it.
What was the point? I didn't get that.
John's a scofflaw.
Well, it wasn't a law
I'm
thing.
glad you did. In fact, we got great video of Toledo.
Yeah.
That video.
Ohio? Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio.
It's actually pronounced Toledo.
It's
Toledo.
a big drive, Joshua. It's a long.
Yeah, from Europe, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Be a long haul.
Hey, this just in: the internet is down again in Libya, according to Google Tool. 8 a.m. GMT, which was late last night Pacific time. The Google monitoring tool shows the internet shut off. I'll tell you, isn't it interesting? This is what dictators do now.
It's disturbing. They could save a lot of trouble just by having everything run by AT&T.
They hate the internet.
All their connections.
That's what they should have done.
Constantly.
Use AT&T.
Yeah, they just hire AT&T to run their internet, and then they don't have to run around pulling up poles. And
Wow. This is the second time.
Dictators hate the internet.
They do.
They really feel like that's going to slow things down, right? If they cut off their internet.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the rest of the internet isn't working.
What was the first thing in the old days? The first thing that you would do if you were going to do a coup is you seize the television stations
And the radio.
Take
and the
over
radio
the TV
stations.
and the radio stations.
And you kill a bunch of
So
people.
now you
as well.
shut down
Yeah.
the internet.
They still kill people, but the shutting down of the internet seems to be the new kind of
I
ritual.
don't think it does anything. They're assuming that everybody's as connected as we are in California. It seems to me.
Yeah.
Oh, the Twitterers, they're Twittering. Let's stop the internet
it
because
is
that's
a
causing a
perception issue.
revolution.
I agree with John. I mean, this is a question I was talking about with some of the editors at Engadget and my wife, who's also an editor. But we were talking about, is it our perception of these revolutions that we're seeing it all happen on Twitter and Facebook, and that's where it's happening, or is it just that we're seeing it like that? And I feel like in a way it is that. Like most of the people taking to the streets are probably not tweeting about it. They probably don't even have a phone that it can tweet. I mean, maybe I'm making a generalization here, but I think that some part of this is just perception, right? The government wants you to perceive that they're like locking things down. And then I think it's also from us, we're getting the idea that it's all happening online when this stuff is actually happening in the streets. It's happening in their houses of parliament, or they don't have houses of parliament there, though. I guess they're houses of dictatorship.
The left bathroom and the right bathroom of Muammar Gaddafi's palace.
Exactly.
I mean, this stuff is really happening. Like, there are people dying right now, and people aren't like tweeting, "Hey, I just got killed." They're not tweeting.
It does diminish it a little bit to say it's a Twitter revolution.
And the other thing that kind
But on the other hand, obviously Gaddafi feels like it's important to shut off the internet, as did Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. Because it's being used to organize?
I think they might be used to
Or is it
organize
PR?
some groups, but I think it's on the other hand, they don't know what's going on and they just shut down everything.
That's all they can do.
But I'll tell you something else that bothers me, just to interrupt for a second. They show these videos that people are taking with these camera phones, and I'm not seeing anything but a lot of blurring motion. They got the video cameras waving all around, and it's like you can't see anything, and people are supposedly being shot and run down and gunned down and shot by airplanes.
I think it's the fault of the cell phone makers. They need to get better, more stable cameras on their phones.
Well, I mean, maybe the guy could hold it still for 1 second.
They're getting shot at.
Josh makes an excellent point. And there are countries where people don't know what the internet is. You go to North Korea, they've never permitted internet access to any of their citizens, and nobody even knows what it is.
They don't
They're
have
all really well read.
They don't have a scale on this Google monitoring tool. I don't know if these are
Up to the
megabytes, terabytes, gigabytes, petabytes.
40. It says 40.
It's 40, 30, 20. I'm got to think that's gigabits.
No, I doubt it.
Sounds like
just a number.
Football field to me. I don't know.
But it does drop off quite completely. This sounds kind of silly, but I have to assume that the dictators know their job. And if they're shutting off the internet, it's because I'm sure they're also shutting down cell phones so people can't text one another. But it's got to be because there is some threat to them from the internet, don't you think? You know what it is really also about? It's not just inbound or it's not just. I think it's people keeping people off. It's not just people not seeing Facebook and Twitter. It's keeping people from posting videos, from letting the world know. I mean,
and what about
a lot
people
of the way
reading the news? I mean, don't you think that's something they're trying to stop?
Exactly.
To get people reading the New York Times going, hey, look at this.
Exactly.
We're making waves.
There was some complaint early on in Libya from the protesters that the Western world wasn't watching in the same way that they were watching Tunisia or Egypt. And without the pressure of the Western world on Gaddafi, he doesn't, if he were operating alone inside his own borders without anybody paying any attention, he could do whatever he wants, right? I mean, isn't that what happened in Cambodia?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in Cambodia. Lee, what you said, I mean, in the old days, they just shut down the newspapers.
And they can operate with free reign.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they've done. And
is it working?
Well, we don't know. I mean, it's not. It's a nasty scene in Libya right now. It's very sad.
It doesn't seem to be working.
Yes.
It's weird that we went from Gaddafi was kind of funny a few months ago.
Yeah, not so funny.
He showed up at the UN, and now he doesn't seem that funny. He actually seems like a pretty terrible person, which is kind of has always been the thing with him, right? I mean, he's been terrible for a while.
Terrible and a little crazy.
You know, some of this comes from our own U.S. And for those of you listening outside the U.S., well, it's our own federal government, which confuses us as U.S. citizens because we have some interest in Egypt. We have some interest in Libya. You know, we let Gaddafi off the hook for the KAL bombing.
You mean the Scotland Lockerbie?
Lockerbie.
You mean Pan Am.
Pan Am, I'm sorry, Lockerbie.
Yeah.
Not KAL, Lockerbie. Because we wanted to treat with him, even though he's a nutbag.
Yeah. Well,
and so some of this confusion, I think, comes from the fact that the U.S. government doesn't seem to know who's good and who's bad.
well,
Is your chat going crazy right now? Because I'm not watching it, but we're getting really political.
This sounds like no agenda.
All right, let's change channels.
No, I don't
Sound
mind.
like
Let's talk
John's
about
show.
it.
I think it's
America
interesting.
must be stopped. We got to stop the U.S. from being lazy about dictators.
Well, geopolitics is tricky. For instance, Egypt, you keep on their good side to protect Israel, right? We give them more than $2 billion a year. They're the number 2 recipient of U.S. foreign aid because it's a payoff, basically.
That's insane. But that's insane, isn't it?
It's a payoff.
That sounds crazy. We're paying them off to protect Israel?
Yes.
That whole situation sounds crazy. Like if we don't keep giving them the money, they'll just go ballistic.
Yes.
Let them dig a
They've
hole
done
and
it
I'll just
before.
watch.
Really, we should leave this in the hands of the
let's
experts.
talk
John
about
C.
Google or something,
Dvorak,
right?
John C. Dvorak, and Adam Curry. From now on, listen to you want politics? Listen to No Agenda.
We don't really do politics on No Agenda. We just do deconstruction of news stories to prove that public relations companies are behind most of the news.
Which
that's
is
true.
pretty.
Oh, I love that. I got to listen. I got to watch.
Yeah, it's a good show. NoAgenda.com.
NoAgendaShow.com.
NoAgendaShow.com.
I'm endorsing that based on the idea. That sounds great.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Well,
In fact, you don't have to listen to the show at all, Joshua. You pretty much that's it.
Yeah,
right
you
there.
got it.
That's it.
Well,
I got
that's
it.
kind of a drawback.
The details. It's all in the details. Let's talk about iPad 2. Gina,
Speaking
were
of
you
PR
at the
people.
were you at the Apple event?
I was live blogging it from my desk.
How were you
Fritz
live
Nelson
blogging it?
Was
Did you have a camera going?
Fritz Nelson was there with a Skype feed, and
You're kidding.
No, Fritz
That is
Nelson.
illegal.
I guess
You're gonna get busted.
last
won't be
time-
Is it
going
illegal?
back.
Leo got thrown out. Did you
No.
not
I've
get
been
this
thrown
straight?
out.
I did not get thrown out.
But you have not been invited back.
I've never again been
Apple
invited
and
back.
I have both.
That's
been
the same as
black-
being thrown out, Leo.
Well,
Leo, it's pretty similar.
it's post facto being thrown out.
They
You've been disinvited, uninvited.
In fact, no one has ever contacted me from Apple or asked me about it. No one at
Have
the
you
time
tried to
told
get-
me to stop.
did
There
you
was
try to-
nowhere on the badge it said you may not stream.
Did you try?
There were all these cameras in the room. I thought, well, everybody else is
Everybody
broadcasting.
else is-
Did you
doing it.
try to get into one of these events since? Did you ask them nicely?
No.
Can I go? Oh, well then, you're making this up.
They used to send me invitations, and they stopped.
Maybe
Yeah.
they,
If they
don't send you.
if they're not sending you an invitation,
You're not invited.
you're not. Something happened. If
That's
you
right.
drop them,
That's
then
right.
you
Leo,
get
I
them.
didn't get an invitation.
Maybe they changed the database and you've been bumped from
I
the
don't.
list.
You know, the
No.
truth is, it's fun just to bitch about it. I don't really
I
care.
think that's all you.
I don't
Well,
really.
Andy Anatko went. He covered it for us. I anchored from here. It was just fine.
Yeah, I
thank you.
anchored from my
But
desk.
Joshua,
the same
you
way.
of all of us here sitting here, you were there.
So lucky. I'm envious. You were like, I was at my desk. I had no pants on. It was no big deal.
I didn't say
I was like, dying in
a
the
fact.
trenches, trying to elbow people away from the iPad. But
So
I
you-
went. I was there.
So, well, let's start with the back. Let's go backwards. You actually handled the little thing.
I did.
It's nice and light, I hear.
I really handled it. It's a little bit lighter. It's really thin.
Thin.
It's so thin. It's thinner than an iPhone 4. I expected, we knew what it was going to look like. We had a few leaks and we had a pretty good idea of what the thing was going to look like. And I expected it to look how it looked. But when you hold it, it really feels nice. Like it's so, so thin. I was more impressed by the way it felt than I thought I would be. Like
Is
in
it
your
thin
hand.
enough so that it has almost a knife edge like quality, so you could actually
Could you
literally
cut butter?
Can you chop someone's head off with it? If
I
you
think
really,
you could get through just the very first layer of skin. I don't know how deep you could get
You
with
could
it. No,
certainly
it's
cut
not
cheese
sharp.
with it.
Could
It's
you
not
get a
that
paper
sharp,
cut?
but
No.
if you were to sharpen it, you might be able to
I
get
think
a
that'd
little
be cool.
Ah.
the head. shopping.
Now, would the TSA allow you to have a sharpened iPad 2 on an airplane?
That's interesting. You know, Steve Wozniak
That's a
used to
good
have
question. I think
business
that's a
cards
great
made for
question.
it.
We have an attorney in here. What do you think?
But you need a lawyer now on this show.
I don't do anything
This is
without
weird,
my attorney
by the
sitting
way,
here.
Leo does have an attorney on the show at all times now, which is the weirdest
Eric
thing.
Janofsky is here.
He's
and
such a nice guy. He never
Well,
says
and just
anything.
he
really gonna.
he comes over, he whispers in my ear before I make a response. I think that's
say
appropriate.
anything about that.
I like the idea that you've now created
You're
a new
non-disclosed on that,
weapon.
Leo. Shh.
The iPad 2.
You're like sharpen
sharpened.
the edges of your new iPad and use it to take over a plane. Like,
Right.
that's what you're basically saying, I think.
So now I have to say that they did the minimum, did they not? I mean, there were things that they could have included: Thunderbolt, USB, SD card, higher
I thought
resolution
Thunderbolt
screen.
wasn't on it.
Thunderbolt.
No,
These are all
Thunderbolt's
things not
not
on
on
it.
Oh, right. I'm
There's
sorry.
no
I'm not
SD
paying
card.
attention.
It seemed to me they did the minimum they could do to make the old one look obsolete.
Yeah, it was the iPad 1.5. That's what I think the best.
1.4. I mean, it was
It's
underwhelming.
1.3.
What do you think, Joshua? This is your beat.
I think they did the minimum they needed to do to be competitive. I think they made a point about saying we are not, this is not a space race. I actually wrote an editorial about this, but this isn't a space race. We're going to do what we think is necessary for the product, and our experience is its experience overall. And yeah, they didn't do a lot from a technical standpoint.
They didn't need to.
They added cameras. Well, it's when you dominate the market, when you own and define the market, how much do you need to do? It's like saying, I can't even think of a parallel here. Oh, Google. It's like Google. It's like Google changing their search algorithm. Remember, they just said,
Right.
"Hey, we're gonna try to cut down on spam." But it's like they didn't need to. It's probably the bare minimum. They're probably doing the bare minimum to cut down on spam. If you own the market and there is no other name, really, how much do you need to do to stay competitive? Well, you don't need to do anything really, but just a little bit is enough. And they did just enough now to say, oh, we've got that, we've got a dual core, we've got cameras. But at the end of the day, what's going to make people walk away with these things, and what my experience was playing around with it, some of the new stuff, the GarageBand that they've done for the iPad, iMovie
That's
that they
awesome.
added for
Yeah.
I
it,
have
some
to
of the
say.
photo booth stuff, which is just like if you play with it in a store, you're going to want to leave with it because it just is fun. It's just like something that's weird and fun and you can't do on anything else.
It's funny because Photo Booth is such a throwaway program. It's been on the Mac for such a long time.
Well, that's
but
just so much
everybody
of
who
this
has a
stuff.
Mac loves Photo Booth.
Everybody
Anytime
loves Photo
you want to show off a Mac, you use Photo Booth. And I think Apple never gave it much love. And now I think you're right. They realized this could sell. This could sell pads.
It's like what's the experience of somebody who didn't know they wanted one of these? They go into the store, they say, "Oh, I heard about the iPad," and they start playing around with these really touchy-feely, very graphic intense, weird, cool new programs.
Right.
I mean, I think that they are just their whole thing where they were saying we love to do apps, and here's a couple of new apps we want to challenge other developers. And the apps, I played with the GarageBand on the demo units they had there. It's really cool. Yeah. I mean, I used to make music professionally.
Oh,
I think it's really, really an interesting piece of software. That
is it for musicians or for non-musicians?
Both. I think for both. That's the thing. You can use it if you're a real musician. You can totally write on it.
Wow.
You can record on it. If you're a beginner or an amateur,
8-track recording.
Yeah, that's
8-track recording, and they have these crazy things called smart instruments where it'll give you like a guitar. It'll give you the neck of a guitar. You can strum it, and it gives you your set of your standard chords. So it's like you're playing the guitar. You can create a song that's completely original, but you don't have to actually learn how to play the guitar, which is pretty fascinating. Yeah. Pretty fascinating idea.
Yeah, some cool apps. The device is thinner. It's
iMovie?
lighter.
Would you shoot? Hey, Joshua, maybe you know because Apple was really unclear on this. Did you ask them what is the resolution of that back camera?
They haven't said.
They haven't said. We don't know the number.
Yeah.
Is that odd that we? Apple's so funny because they say we're in the post-PC era. You don't care how much RAM we have, but then they say, but we do have a dual-core processor running at 1.03 gigahertz. It's like they decide.
Yeah.
They only announce the good specs.
The numbers we like.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So it makes me nervous that they haven't revealed the resolution of that camera. It sounds like.
I think it's what's the back of the Touch? It's probably the same. I mean,
but that's crap.
Yeah, that is crap.
It's not a great camera, but I think. It does HD video recording. It's not going to look as good as the
it'll
camera.
It'll be upscaled HD. It won't be true 720p if it's the iPod Touchback.
Well, then I think it is going to be true 720p. So maybe it's higher res than the Touch.
I might be wrong. Maybe the Touch does. I know they claim 720, but like the flip cam, it's a upscaled 720.
I don't think I mean, maybe they're upscaling. I don't know. I mean, on the iPad.
Well, Steve would never lie. I'm sure if Steve says.
Well, let's go over that little issue. You said you have.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Lie.
We're going to get to the. So the iPod Touch. Let me just look at the specs on the. See if they say on the video. No, so they don't. Oh, they do.
Show it. They just say
960 by 720. So it is 720p on the Touch.
But no, 960 by 720 is not true 720p.
No,
It's not wide enough.
It's not wide enough.
It's 1280 by 720.
But at least it's
it?
720 lines top to bottom. But you're right. It wouldn't be 16 by 9.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of phony, which is annoying. So it probably is the same camera.
So it's not the iPhone 4 camera.
No, absolutely not. I mean, that would cost.
Why
a lot
not?
of money. I think
Save
they're trying
money?
to keep things
Keep
as cheap
the price
as possible.
down.
That's a much better
They're
camera.
fighting
the
on
iPhone.
price.
It's a really nice.
I wish
camera.
to hell they'd say. I think it's a little funny that they say the specs that they want to say, and
There
they
were a lot of
completely.
disingenuous things going on where they said we're in a post-PC world. And
Except
then
that we have 1.03 gigahertz processors.
yeah, and then they announced this case as if it's the newest thing since
Imagine
Star
a
Trek.
revolutionary case.
BlackBerry's has
But
it.
wait a minute, it is
This
a cool
has been around
case.
for 10 years.
Yeah, the
It's a
magnet.
cool-
Yeah, the magnet.
It's a cool
yeah.
case,
not a
but I
new-
mean,
a new
the fact they had a video for the case, I thought was a little over the top. I mean, it's cute, but it's just a case. I mean,
Well,
it's
that's
not even a case. It covers the front of it.
No.
That's it.
That's the
Yeah,
Apple.
it's not a case. It's just a cover.
That's the Apple
The
annuity
iCover.
fund because,
Yes.
first of all,
Smart
none of the
cover.
existing cases will work with the camera. Apple is going to sell. Every single person who buys an iPad 2 will buy that case at $30. How much can that piece of rubber and a
Wait a
magnet
minute. That
cost to
doesn't
make?
come with it.
No, it's
No.
$38 extra.
Just they're
Am I
nickel and
right, Josh?
diming the user.
And
Yeah.
it's all profit because it's just a freaking piece of rubber.
Yeah, they're getting it for $2 from Shenzhen.
Probably a
Exactly.
bunny.
Exactly, maybe a buck.
In
yeah.
defense of, there are some leather ones, so they had to get them.
$70.
No. Yeah, those are more expensive. So
But the BlackBerry's had this for a
The
good,
magnet, yeah.
a good.
And I
10
like
years.
that was actually a nice feature of the BlackBerry. You'd holster it; it would know it would be in the holster.
But
I
Steve
think the
Jobs
magnets are
announced
cool.
this as if it was,
He also
invented
said,
there.
now Joshua, you can maybe clarify on this. He said, we are the first dual core processor tablet to be shipping in volume. Is that
That's
accurate?
ludicrous.
yeah, I think he's. That's a little bit of wordplay, right? Ship in volume. Well, you have to ask what volume means to
15 million,
Exactly.
obviously.
Jobs.
Volume. That's-
Whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
Zoom has a dual core. It's shipping in volume.
Atrix has a dual core.
The Atrix. Well, it's not a tablet, but I mean, it's a
Dell
product.
put out a dual core streak
Yeah.
That's
months ago.
Yeah, the Tegra.
But it's not
the
in volume.
dual
Oh,
core
well, what
Tegra.
is volume?
They sold. Dell's only sold 3 of those things.
Well, that may be true.
It's actually more like 300. So.
So I guess volume is whatever
I
Steve
stand
Jobs
corrected.
decides.
It's
it is.
it's
No, I don't know.
shipping.
They're not selling a lot of them. I think that's
It's
the issue.
shipping.
And Apple is selling a lot of iPads, right? So they get to, and this is the whole thing, is all this post PC and shipping in volume, and we only talk about the specs we want. They're basically, it's carte blanche now, whatever we want to do, because when you go to a store, you're not looking for a tablet.
You're looking for
People
an
aren't
iPad.
looking for a tablet. You're looking for you want the iPad. And the other guys have to now say, we offer something that the iPad doesn't offer, that's a feature that you just have, it's a must-have. And Apple is basically going, they don't have it. There aren't any features. They could boast about specs, but that doesn't matter.
He was.
saying.
I have to
Apple's the
say,
new Microsoft.
Steve was kind of a little cocky. I mean, he was crowing. He's like, they can't. They're not even close. It's
They
like,
went way beyond expectations on sales. By the way, I'm sure people are like, what a fanboy. And I wrote this editorial, and it was all about how it's Apple's post-PC world, and they're sort of selling this idea of the post-PC. And it was about really how they're trying to market themselves and how they're trying to market
it
this
doesn't
product.
mean you
And
like it. It just means
No.
it's an observation. This is what they're doing.
It's the reality. They said
Right.
as much. They said, we don't speeds and feeds. We don't. That's the PC model.
Well, we do speeds and feeds
competing
when
on
it benefits
experience.
us. But if you want to know about the camera, well, we don't do speeds and
Yeah,
feeds.
Josh, I read your editorial. I thought it was dead on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the speeds and feeds is right when they want to talk about something. But I also think, look at it from their perspective. They probably said, all right, what's the next version? We need a faster processor. People want cameras. We want to be able to do FaceTime on here. I think they looked at this from a fairly holistic, in a fairly holistic way, and said, also, version 3 is coming. So you have to add something
Well,
to version 3.
that's an interesting
Yeah.
question. Version 3
When's
this
that?
fall, or you think we wait till April or March of next year for version 3?
That doesn't make sense to me. I talked to John Gruber about this. We had a conversation at the event. That's sort of his theory, I think, is that there'll be a version in the fall, which is a higher resolution display and some other stuff. But they're already cannibalizing iPad 1 here. I mean, so much so that they're saying if you bought one recently, we'll
Right.
give you $100 back.
Yeah.
Right.
Last 2 weeks.
How would it make sense? Tell me what the premise is.
Well, I'll
for the
tell you
iPad
why.
3 in 6 months.
Here's
or
the only
7.
reason I can think of it. is that shipping an iPad in April or March is a bad time to ship an iPad.
It sure is.
Kills your Christmas sales because everybody knows, well, wait 3 months. Yep. So what you'd like to do is ship into September. So I think what they're going to do is a one-time only. They'll take a little hit, one-time only. We're gonna cannibalize iPad 2, but we're gonna get it out in September for the buying season, and we'll be every September from then on. Doesn't that make sense, Joshua?
I mean, it's possible. Why not just wait then? Keep selling. They've been selling loads of the
Well, that's true.
original
They could
iPad.
have waited, couldn't they?
I mean, maybe they felt like
I think they were threatened a little bit by Zoom and
Motorola.
Playbook, and
I think they were trying to steal some of the thunder from Motorola by announcing this kind of limited, iterative version of the iPad. And the current iPad, it has no way in and no way out. It's like the Hotel
it's
California.
not supposed to have a way in or out.
Yeah,
and this new one doesn't either. I don't think 4.3 is going to change that.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem crazy, though, that they would be threatened by the Zoom when they're almost in there's two different categories. The Zoom, it costs, minimum is you're going to pay $700, $800 or something. I think there's a Wi-Fi version they've been talking about that's going to be $599 or something, but isn't available yet. And, the price point is way off. There's, they're trying to sell them with a carrier commitment, and there's no software. I mean, there's literally, I just reviewed the Zoom. There were like 6 apps. Right. And some of them Google had to give to us. They were like, here, these aren't out yet. It's a really weird thing where you've got this almost like a beta product. The Zoom is very good on the tech side. Gets great battery life. I think the new Android Honeycomb UI is very interesting. But there is no competition right now between these two products. I mean, there are no apps available for the Zoom that are compelling, really, that are going to make you say, hey, there's something happening here that isn't. The only thing that's happening, it's different, is it's running Android. Really,
isn't it amazing to see Apple competing on price?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Apple have the cheapest product out
It's the
there.
beginning of the end.
It is the beginning of the end.
It's
it
a new
shows you
Apple.
they're scared because why on earth would they price
I think they
something
sensed that if
this cheap?
it's very clear when they released the iPad initially, they had to do a very competitive, aggressive price because it was a new category, and nobody's going to even look at something that they don't even know they need unless it's affordable enough. They sure killed netbooks with the iPad.
Yeah.
Put that market to bed completely.
Well, that market was really dubious.
It was a crappy market, I know, but.
Well, I mean, netbooks came up, though. That's what happened. I mean, they didn't kill netbooks. I mean, netbooks kind of killed themselves, right? They started
That's
out
for sure.
cheap. They had these Linux.
I know my
netbooks.
netbook jumped right off the Golden Gate Bridge.
You had a bunch of them.
Yeah, I did. I still have
You
the
even
original.
have the OPML or whatever it is.
You have the OPML
One at
version.
LPM.
But I have right there, that's the Asus EE PC, the very first 7.5-inch netbook. And it's there for historic. That's historic. It's right in front of the original iPhone and the original iPod. It's historic. That's a piece of history. Someday people will say, remember netbooks?
The NIC, the NC, the Larry Ellison. It's at the Computer History Museum. I saw the
Gina
damn
was
thing
the
behind
CEO
glass.
of the company.
That was
all right.
painful.
We got some more quotes from Steve Jobs, including some even more outrageous lies.
Outrageous lies with Leo Laporte.
He's the Muammar Gaddafi of technology, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. That's harsh.
I know. I'm just trying.
You're really
trying to liven the show up.
I'm trying to get some hits here.
You weren't getting it before.
You're going to get a bunch of Apple guys on your case.
All the fanboys.
Let's talk about this. Also, you have a great review of the MacBook Pro. In fact, you pushed me over the edge to buy it, so I'm blaming you, Joshua Topolsky.
Nilay Patel, our managing editor, did the review, but I asked him to do it.
Yeah.
So it's sort of.
We'll talk about that. And Scoble says.
Scoble says. What does Scoble say?
It's a new feature on the show. Scoble says.
What did Bob Scoble say?
Scoble says Charlie Sheen is YouTube's big fumble. We'll find out what that could be. But first, let me talk about Go to My PC. I'm really excited, actually. They've got a brand new product, which we were the first to see. For iPad fans, and this is the new or the old iPad, Go to My PC for the iPad is now free and available in the Apple Store. That means you can access your PC or Mac anytime, not only from your laptop, but from your iPad. In fact, they've got a great contest, a chance for you to win $10,000 by sharing your 30-second story at facebook.com/go-to-my-PC. Facebook.com/go-to-my-PC, but this is a limited time. You got through March 18th to make your video. So let me tell you first a little bit about this new, this is fantastic iPad app that lets you access your computer. Go to My PC has always been the best remote access solution. It's really easy to use, very fast. worked on Macs and PCs. And now you can try it free by visiting gotomypc.com using the promo code TWiT. And to celebrate, and then the download for the free app on the iPad, just in the App Store. It's absolutely free. And so now they put together. Let me type this in here. It's facebook.com/gotomypc. Facebook.com/gotomypc. Now through March 18th, you can submit a video for a chance to win 10 grand, a free iPad, and a free Go to My PC subscription. Wow. It's their Freedom to Let Go video contest. So the deal is shoot a 30-second video telling your free to let go dream. Like, I would like to be able to access my PC from the Arctic tundra or whatever it is. You have to post it on this page by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, March 18th. And what a great prize. They're going to announce 3 finalists on March 23rd. And then you got to get your friends and family and community to vote for you because the 3 finalists will all get an iPad. But the video with the most public votes wins the $10,000 and the year subscription to Go to My PC. Doesn't have to be your picture. Could be puppets, they say. Get the puppets out, drawings, animation, stand-ins, your pets. We just need the submission in video, and it has to be on this YouTube page. And, of course, for the 45-day free trial, go to mypc.com. Use the offer code TWiT. This is great software. I use it all the time, and I encourage you to give it a shot for free for 45 days. Go to mypc.com with the offer code TWiT and facebook.com/go-to-my-PC for that contest on Facebook. That sounds like a lot of fun. So, Joshua, you actually, Engadget, I shouldn't say you personally, but Engadget ran this quote from the vice president of Samsung, Lee Young-hee, end of January. Oh, we lost him.
Did you lose him?
You lost him.
You lost him.
And
I lost him.
that was
Let me show the
Information
quote.
Week, I think.
Well, everybody, Wall Street Journal was the first to
The
use
person
it.
whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
There you go.
You know, I just think he doesn't want me to ask him
I'd
about
like to have
this.
Joshua
The
back.
Journal actually was using a translation provided by Samsung. But this quote that Steve Jobs used on Wednesday was debunked and fixed by everybody, including Engadget and the Wall Street Journal, weeks ago. She said, as you heard, our sell-in, we're talking about the Samsung Galaxy Tab, our sell-in was quite aggressive. That means, John, sell-in means sales to the dealers.
Right.
Channel
Sales.
Channel sales.
Not to end users. So, as she said, our sell-in was quite aggressive, around 2 million. In terms of sell-out, that is sales from the dealers to customers, she said, we believe it was quite smooth.
Yes,
Quite smooth.
Quite smooth.
And then he
What
puts,
did Apple say? What did Steve Jobs say?
Steve Jobs said
Posts?
quite small.
yeah, that seems
How
to be
convenient.
wrong.
Quite small is not the same as quite
need a
smooth.
fact checker.
In fact, I would say that's the opposite. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's bold even for Apple. I think that
I
was
think-
an
I can't-
error.
Did Steve Jobs willfully lie?
No,
or
I
was
think
he,
somebody set him up and made a mistake, and I bet you they got chewed out like there's no tomorrow.
he set me up the bomb.
Because that's just too obvious. Everybody and their sister will
Yes.
catch this stuff.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, they catch somebody doing
Wait
a
a minute
Star
now,
Trek
though.
uniform where the badge is off a quarter inch.
That's true. So I think it's not unreasonable to think that he maybe, when he said we're the only dual processor tablet to ship in volume, he said I think at the end of that. So maybe that was just a kind of an
that
interpretation.
could have been an ad lib too.
So we'll give that one. We'll give him that one. In this case, maybe it was just bad fact checking. You know, we could give him that one. It's not a lie. It's just bad fact checking. No. And then he said, in fact, it's a slide here. The iPad has greater than 90% market share.
Yeah, that's
that's
not so.
not right.
There you go.
Golly.
That may be true.
But 90% market
Shift
share
into
of
the
what
channel.
market? Maybe
right.
he's got some.
That's not consumer.
Oh, maybe it's like,
share.
well, no, they're saying, well, okay, so Samsung
That might
sold
be
2 million
channel share.
into the channel.
Right.
Apple sold 14.8 million into the channel. But that's not 90%. You'd have to sell 17.
Yes.
Actually, 18.
So that wasn't correct.
So that's not right.
All right. Well, this is.
That's just
Numbers are
probably,
wrong.
he's not good at math. It's not his fault. He's not good at math.
He is good at math, so there's something up.
Joshua, you're the one.
Am I back?
You're back, baby.
Oh, I
You're
am.
back.
Okay. I can't see
Welcome
you guys,
back,
but you can
Josh.
apparently see me.
You should be able to see us soon.
Oh,
Yeah,
Actually,
okay.
not
We can
us. John
see
C.
you.
Dvorak.
Oh, nice. Just leave it on him. Leave it on him the whole time. So you're talking about the quote I heard.
Yeah, you fixed the quote. You had the bad quote originally because Samsung gave it to you.
And we also ran a CEO no about this, him using this quote, even though it's been proven totally incorrect. So one of two things happen, right? Either they just don't care, right, and they just thought it was a good opportunity to take a dig at somebody, or they didn't do their research.
Yeah, I think the second is
bad
the more
fact
likely.
checking.
Bad fact checking.
I think it's really possible they didn't fact check. I think they might have seen the quote. Somebody ran back with it the second they saw
Yeah,
it.
they're waving it in the air. Look at this! Look at this!
So that keynote presentation was prepared weeks ago, and they never bothered, saying, "Oh, it was changed."
Well, I mean, the whole thing just reeked of PRdom. The entire announcement, from the announcement that we're post PC,
even
that
slide. Video at the beginning, the self-congratulatory video.
Yeah, I mean, all of it. They called Jobs at the last minute probably and said, can you make it? Is there any way you can make it? He showed up and he talked to the slides.
I got to say, I'm glad he showed up.
Yeah, that's good that he showed up.
Was anybody surprised that he showed up?
I was.
No, I wasn't.
I had publicly made the comment just casually on the Dvorak Horowitz show that there's no way he's going to show up. He's taken off. I mean, what's he going to keep coming in every time they have to announce something?
I hate it when people do that, when they retire, like Frank Sinatra, and they keep coming back again.
Well,
and
I
again.
was thinking Brett Favre is a good example.
Like The Who. Like Brett
Pretty
Favre.
surprising.
Like Led Zeppelin.
To see him there.
So when he came out on the stage, Joshua, were you one of the people that leapt to their feet in raucous applause?
I fell to my knees, actually, and tears started pouring down my face.
This is a journalist clapping at these things.
No.
So
Let's make this clear. It is not necessarily journalists, because Apple stacks the first 4 rows of all these events with Apple employees. The cameras are carefully positioned to only show the first 4 rows.
The Betty Boop movies.
Right. Yeah. And Joshua's actually actively sitting there unmoving. This is what Joshua did at the event. He
Am I
just
frozen right now?
Frozen solid.
Frozen solid.
I don't know. We have a storm in New York. I think that something's happening very bad.
Global warming.
That's okay.
That or AT&T or Libya.
I think this might be related to the Libyan internet shutdown.
Libya. It's either Libya or AT&T.
Gaddafi has shut the internet off in New York City.
Yes.
This is painful.
It's about time.
By the way, you had this story, and I'm curious about this too, that there is an in-case case that looks just like the Apple case, the innovative Apple II smart cover. It does the same thing with the triangle and everything.
Yeah, somebody's getting sued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean,
it's not Steve Jobs' fault. Johnny Ive saw this and he forgot he saw it, and he designed it for and then he forgot he saw it. So really, none of this is Apple's fault.
No, and Apple makes like they invented this stuff, and everybody forgets all the MP3 players that were around before the iPod.
IBM is worse than Apple when it comes to this sort of thing.
Apple's the new Microsoft, and
was Microsoft like this in the old day? What was it like,
this
Grandpa?
Is what Microsoft
in the
was
day,
like.
tell
That's
us
the way they still are. What are you kidding?
Oh,
but they were just like this.
They still are.
And they still are.
But the problem with now is nobody's paying any attention.
Right. Microsoft can't get a break.
Well, Microsoft is like a hostile takeover of Nokia by basically throwing billions of dollars at it.
Let me tell you something.
Let
me tell you something, Shasha. I don't know what was that.
I love how he calls me Zsa.
I like that Zsa name for you.
Well, this week, Shasha.
There's a history.
This week, Shasha.
I don't care. I just like the name. I think
I bought a Nokia N8 phone.
Did you?
What am I thinking?
Oh, darling,
what, the N8?
And the N8.
Really?
Well, I like it. It's nice.
That's the new one, right? That's
It's kind of new.
Okay.
It came out a few months ago.
Yeah, it's okay.
Are you an old Nokia user?
I've been trying to
I
get
love
a
Nokia.
eval of that. I love
They're going
Nokia.
to kill all those products.
But I got to tell you, the N8 looked really sweet. It's got 12 megapixel camera. It's Symbian 3. And you know what, Joshua?
Symbian's history.
Remember I loved my Scion 3A. I had a Scion 3A for the longest time.
You've loved everything. Let's face reality.
No, I don't love everything, John.
Well, at the beginning,
I don't love a bad Bordeaux. I don't.
Well, that's only recently.
I don't love.
This is because you've been making the big bucks, and now all of a sudden you're getting picky.
He used to love a bad Bordeaux.
He used to love a bad Bordeaux. I remember you drinking some of the worst swill. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Let's
and
open
by
this
the way,
bottle. Should we open this bottle?
I've got this bottle of wine that I found back there. The name of it is Sustainable Red.
Yeah.
Who are they kidding? It's Sustainable Red.
It's a bad Bordeaux.
Those of us who live in wine country care deeply about monoculture and the future of our environment.
Aren't grapes just inherently sustainable? Since
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
But wait a minute, these grapes are different according to the back label. Carbon neutral. somehow.
I have
Earth-friendly packaging. 100%.
You have to go to get them.
Yeah, 100% green power. Sustainable farming practices. They plow. Grapes from family farms. What's that got to do with anything? Locally owned and operated. What is this?
It's green wine.
This wine is like my water.
Okay,
Yeah.
so listen.
Welcome to
am I still
Sonoma
frozen?
County.
Affirmative water.
I bet you
You're
the wine
still
is
frozen. You want to
mediocre.
reboot, and I'll do a commercial while you reboot?
I'm going to switch to LTE and see if it does better than my Time Warner cable
risky.
connection.
Yes, and pop in an
Show
Ethernet
off.
cable.
And no, I
That'll help
can't.
you.
I'm not close enough. We just moved to a new house. I'm on another floor. It's a huge mess.
And now he's complaining.
I'd love a new
I'm going to
house.
try to get on LTE and come back, and we'll see if it's any better.
All right, go ahead. You go off. John, why don't we open that bottle of sustainable red and see if it's any good? They didn't say drinkable. They just said
Now,
sustainable.
Leo, I remember when we were doing the show that whenever we mentioned the word apple, you used to play taps. We had a producer.
You're kidding.
You don't.
Was I that scurrilous?
Apple was trading at about $2 a share. We were urging Apple to return its money to its shareholders.
Oh, my God.
And listeners would call in because we had a call-in show. They would mention Apple, and you had some kind of a point you would do, and they would immediately start playing taps. Da, da, da.
Well, that was in the dim, dark days of Herr Spindler.
Yes,
Gil Amelio.
Doc Gil Amelio.
So I think that in some ways I was justified, and I have to say that you give credit to Steve Jobs for making that taking that company back from the dead, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was working for Larry Ellison at the time, and he used to say, "Do you think if Steve Jobs came back, Apple could somehow stand up again?" And you know what? There was no doubt. There are enough fanboys out there that would bring Apple back just
It's interesting
on
that
that
Ellison
alone.
saw that coming.
Ellison saw it coming. They're very good friends.
Oh, are they?
I'm probably not allowed to say any of this. I'm contracted up with Ellison.
Are you?
Where I'm not allowed to speak of him.
Is that
But
true?
yes, it is true.
Well,
But I can say
shall I expurgate?
he's good friends with very good friends with Jobs, and he did ask me that. Well, he's on the board or was on the board at Apple, and he saw it coming.
This show is ground to a halt. We've lost Joshua and Dvorak.
Well, Dvorak walked out to uncork
I'll
a
tell you what.
bottle
Let
of
me
bad
call in reinforcements. Matt Mullenweg. What do you say?
Is Matt finally going to join us?
You want to give us while I'm getting Matt? Why don't you tell us what happened this week with WordPress.com? Weren't they DDoSed? Do you have that information in front of you?
Yeah. Well, WordPress was attacked this week, Leo, and of course, people are handing me wine here. At first, people were thinking that it was a Middle Eastern attack of WordPress. And then the CEO of WordPress said, no. It all came from China.
By the way,
it came from servers in China.
These fine glasses were hand blown by one of our viewers whose house has since burned down.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and he, if he's watching, I want him to contact me because he wants to start
Give him
a
his
fund.
glasses back. So
is
he
this
can,
from you?
It was his glass. Maybe he needs something to
his
drink
house
from.
burned down.
His glasses.
Let's give him back all of his belongings.
Let's get Matt Mullenweg on
Yes,
the line.
where's
Hi, Matt.
Howdy.
It's
There's
great
Matt.
to have you. Let me just pull
Hey,
you
Matt,
up
it's
here.
Dvorak.
And I'm going to get Joshua.
see you.
Hi, Matt.
Do you know each other?
We do now.
Would you like a glass of wine?
I've
Matt?
known Matt before he had that crazy beard.
I like the beard, Matt. Yeah, it's good.
Brand new.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Brand new, just as of yesterday. It's actually glued
You're not talking
on.
about my beard, are you?
No, we're talking about
Now
Matt
we got the
Mullenweg's
two beers.
beard.
The Fear the Beard crew is here, and the
That's
both
a
of
San
them.
Francisco joke. No one gets
we got
that
another
outside
beard?
of the-
Charlie
Matt
Sheen
Matt
referred
Mullenweg
to
is
it on
joining
Charlie
his
Sheen.
show.
To talk about the DDoS that happened.
Yeah, the denial of service attack that happened on
Fill us in, actually. What did happen, Matt?
Sure. So I guess it started on Thursday. We had an extremely large distributed denial of a service attack that ended up taking WordPress.com down, as many of you guys reported.
And
Yeah.
gigabits of data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one peaked at, I think, 6 or 7 gigabits.
Wow.
That's pretty
That's a significant amount. I guess you could, with a large botnet, you could probably throw
Easy.
that much bandwidth at.
It actually wasn't the largest one we've seen in terms of bandwidth, but it was pretty intense in a packets per second point of view, which ended up overloading some of the routers upstream from us, which is what ultimately took us down.
How do you get out of it?
How do you get out of it? Well, at that level, we don't have a lot of options by the time it gets to us. So really, we work with our excellent upstream providers, Pier 1 and Layer Technologies, and those guys, and they were able to block it before it even gets to our data center.
Do they throw more bandwidth at it, or they actually? Because I presume that the originating IP addresses are rotating.
Actually, we ended up blocking about millions and millions of IP addresses to Class 8s.
Wow.
Coming from, just to make it stop. So we ended up blocking a lot of IP addresses as a temporary measure, and then they did some more sophisticated filtering of the traffic, as far as I know.
Now, TechCrunch speculates that most of this traffic came from China.
That's what they said.
And that it was perhaps tied to a blog that the Chinese government didn't like on WordPress.com.
Got to be more than one.
It's got to be more than one. Right. It's got to be more
You
than
have
one.
18 million sites on WordPress.com.
This is true.
I mean, was it from China?
It is a fact that the majority of the traffic was coming from China. However, now that we've dug a bit more into the blog, it appears to be that the attack might have been business motivated. The website
Really?
some sort of gaming website
You're
that
kidding.
appears to have no political aspect at all.
No political aspect at all.
So,
I mean, I don't speak
A
Chinese.
competitor or just...
A TypePad takes WordPress out.
It's
TypePad wants to regain its former prominence.
No,
What
we
is
were
this- what does
probably
this
just
blog
collateral
cover?
damage in this case.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it is
so it's a Joshua said. Go ahead, say that again.
Yeah, what is it? What does this blog cover that was the target of the attack?
I don't know.
Again, was it?
I'm
Chinese
just working
blog.
off Google Translate.
Oh,
But it's a gaming site.
It appears to be, yeah, some sort of online gaming Chinese thing.
how do you
What
know
if-
it was that blog that they're attacking?
So the first set of attacks we didn't know. It was just basically a TCP attack at port 80, so there was no target information.
So they were just
but-
throwing it all at WordPress.com.
Yeah, just at our IP addresses.
Right.
Later, there were, I think, 6 total waves of the attacks. And one of the later ones was trying to do a resource overload, which included HTTP headers, which made it very easy to see what they were targeting it at.
So that one was more targeted at a particular WordPress.com hosted blog.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I originally thought it was politically motivated because we've had a number of, well, we get DDoSs all the time. But
So
there
this
was
happens a
one-
lot.
Yeah, sometimes a few times a week. Most of them are so small we don't even notice.
Wow.
Just because. But there was another larger one a few weeks ago against some Vietnamese political sites. So thought it might be related to that somehow.
You say you told TechCrunch 98% of the attacks originated in China, with a small percentage coming from Japan and Korea. Is that still? Do you believe still that to be the case?
Yep, that's what we checked in the IP.
Doesn't mean that I guess that the originator is in
Could
China.
be Russian
though.
because
It
the
could be
Russians have a lot of
redirected,
right. The Russians have a lot of Chinese botnets that they.
Could be anybody
There's
redirecting
apparently in
through
China one of the issues they have because most of the software there is bootlegged. So there's apparently versions of Windows that have built-in Trojans, and there just must be millions of them that they can be turned on
That
by.
makes sense, actually.
Yeah, because everything's a copy.
Yeah.
Interesting
engaged.
fact about China.
Okay. So the Chinese thing also makes it seem like there's some sort of global political conspiracy, but that's actually not the case. I mean, based on what you're saying, at first glance, it's like, oh, they originate from China. Well, this has got to be, and then like Leo said, was it targeted at a political site? It's interesting to hear that it really is not China coming at some political site. It's a group of or some gaming people coming at a gaming
Some
site.
geeks in
Some
geeks in Shenzhen.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so much more right? It's like,
That
of
said,
course,
it was
that's
definitely a
DDoS
professional
site.
attack. The size of the attack would have been very, very expensive to mount. So, I mean, based on that, it was non-trivial. But we don't have any further details about why or.
And have you spoken to the owner of the site that was attacked?
We've tried to, but we haven't heard back yet.
Wow.
Could be Ariana.
And he's Chinese? It's a Chinese site.
It appears to be, yeah.
Could be redirected through China.
So,
That doesn't tell you much.
are you ever worried about this happening to you, Leo?
Nah. I love the Chinese people.
Yeah, but it's the Russians that you got to worry about.
Oh, it's the Russians.
Do you not like Russian people?
No, I hate them.
He loves the Russians.
Oh, it's too bad.
He has a hat.
There you go.
Uh-oh, here we go. Is that made of sable? If it's not made of sable, then try not to wreck the place, Leo.
Is there a camera pointing at this?
Not yet.
What is
I
that?
love the Russian peoples.
There you
Every
go.
one of them is my favorite peoples. And John, if you would wear hat on back of hat rack back there, we will make sure that everyone who watches show He's a fan of show. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you John C. Dvorak, or Comrade Dvorak.
Wow.
So that way, I don't think we have to worry.
We got full circle back to the political conversation.
Yes. Matt, if you'd worn that hat.
You got a hat kind of hat.
Finally found a hat for me.
Matt's wondering what the hell show he's gotten on.
I know. No one's given me a hat.
So Matt, you tweeted you had food poisoning last night. You feel better, though, I think.
Feel better, Matt?
100% better, yeah.
Thank you.
Was it something you ate at a restaurant?
So I cooked for the second time yesterday morning. So I assumed it was what I had made.
The second time in your life?
The second time in your life?
Sort of, not entirely.
Well, maybe you should take some lessons.
You need 2 different cutting boards.
Okay.
One for vegetables, one for the raw chicken.
Yeah,
if it's
raw
bacon,
chicken,
you want to cook it.
And don't cut your lettuce on where you just chopped up a bunch of raw chicken.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
and
drawback.
wash the lettuce.
Wash the lettuce.
Wash the lettuce.
I assumed it was me because I'm obviously inexperienced there, but all I made was scrambled eggs. And
No, you can't make yourself sick with that.
Eggs, they're the silent killer. Eggs will get you. Sneak up on you when you least expect them.
From Joshua Topolsky, eggs, the silent killer.
That's funny.
Matt, well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Thanks for WordPress.com. And actually, I love your blog. It's always fun to read it.
Photomat.
Photomat.
A new URL, actually. It's ma.tt.
Who is TT?
TT is Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, perfect.
See, John's so old school, he remembers the old one.
Man, it makes me want to change my name to Leoat or something.
So since we got Matt on the line.
We should all do this.
Yes.
So I had a thing. I wanted to do a double-headed blog. I want to take a WordPress blog, one that I host, and take what? Leo's moaning about this.
He's trying to get free tech support.
So I want to have 2 blogs on 2 different sites from the same database with 2 different front ends. Is that doable? Because every time I change the one front end on one, it goes to the database, and then it screws up, and both blogs look the same.
John, you need to run that multi-user WordPress. It's awesome.
But he wants the same content.
It's the opposite, though, right? Can you do it the opposite way?
Yeah.
No, well, I'll just send him a note. He'll never.
Matt, I'm trying to make an omelet. I want to put cheddar cheese.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll come over and show you how to cook, Matt. We'll do some cooking. I'll give you some tips on
John's
wine.
a great cook.
And then you can go.
I've heard you're a great cook.
I am a great cook.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Matt, I hope you feel better.
No problem. John, I'll drop an answer to that in the chat channel. I'm in TWiT Live, too.
Oh, wonderful.
There you go.
I'll never
Thank you for
catch
joining us there.
It scrolls off.
Yeah. What's your handle in there, Matt?
Photomat_.
All right. Photomat_. He's going to give John some tips. You can say it out loud if it's an easy answer.
Yeah, you could say the tip. We could publish it in Engadget and later in Byte.
There you go. Or we could just publish
tip.
at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
What
Tips from Matt, a new feature.
The theme stores the option in your database. So when you switch to theme on one, it's going to switch to theme on the other. But what you should do is filter that option using a plugin. So that way, based on the URL or the host name or whatever you're switching on, you can basically filter what theme is active.
Gotcha.
So what is this
question?
I'll work on that. That little
filter your themes.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. I'll do a follow up on that.
Matt Mullenweg.
The best.
ma.tt.
Thank you, Matt. Be careful what you cook.
Yeah.
Cook safely. Here we go.
Wow,
Don't drive and cook.
That was fun. That was like having Marshall McLuhan come on or something.
The guy's a celebrity.
Marshall McLuhan. Do you remember his daughter?
You know, I never got to meet her.
Do you remember she was hanging around Fred
She
Paul
used
and Sylvie all the time?
She used to work for CNET for a while.
Yeah, I remember. She signed her dad's book for me,
Oh.
as if she were her dad. It's like,
well, she remembers him.
Well, that's
good enough.
So do I.
I always like to go to people's houses and then pull out various books from the bookshelf.
Yeah.
And then make some sort of sexual allusion and then sign the book author's name.
I'll never forget last night.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Signed, yeah.
That's very
Susan
funny.
Sontag. It's great.
Signed Susan.
It works every time.
It's great. And then it lingers in the bookshelf for maybe years before somebody discovers
Somebody notices it.
You know, I once
Hugs and
interviewed
kisses,
Susan
Valerie
Sontag on
Burton.
KNBR radio, and it was so embarrassing because she's a great intellectual. I'm a mere, ignorant peasant.
Who is this?
And Susan Sontag.
Oh.
She is a great intellectual.
And I'm interviewing her on a sports station, so the whole thing was
KNBR.
It was a nightmare.
This is the days when Leo used to be a regular talk show guy, and he has the unusual. He was bumped from his show by Rush Limbaugh.
That's
I
right.
remember that.
I'll never forget it.
That's terrible.
That's what I'm doing
and
here.
he hated Rush
forced you
Limbaugh
out
for
of
years,
the
but then when we were
slot,
doing
is
our
that what
Well, with me and 500 other midday show
beside
hosts.
the point.
Right, everybody got
I
bumped.
like to think it's just
Everybody
you.
got bumped.
And then
You know Rush Limbaugh, I'll say that.
Rush
No, I'm not.
Rush then did a promotion for our
By the way-
on-computer show that you'll end up losing.
I once said on the radio, I'm no Rush Limbaugh, which I think is self-evident, and somebody took it the wrong way and sent me a note saying, I will never listen to you again.
Why?
No, did you remember when we had
like you're not as good. You wish you were as good as
That's
him.
all I was saying. I'm not as good as him, but they apparently
It's not
thought I
good.
was
You're
like
just different. Isn't it?
slamming
You're
Rush
not-
But it was a
Limbaugh.
You're not better
hyper-conservative.
or worse.
I am
I
me.
think
Or
he's
just
better.
you, Leo.
I am
I
me.
think Leo's better.
But it was a hyper
Does Rush
conservative
wear weird
radio
hats?
show.
I don't
put
think
you
so.
in the same league as Rush.
I should mention, John, I also got an email the last time I wore that hat from somebody who said, if you think it's funny to pretend you're a Chinese communist, you've just lost a viewer.
The lunatic fringe will always.
They're out
this
there,
is not.
baby.
This is a hat. This is not Chinese communist. This is Berkeley.
Yeah, that's Berkeley. Berkeley
So if you,
communism.
if you don't like Berkeley, yeah, maybe you can not watch anymore. But this is Berkeley.
Yeah.
Berkeley, baby.
That really favors you. That hat.
It does look good.
You ought to wear that around.
That's one thing about mount caps. They look good on everybody.
It is
Wear
nice.
a
Who
shirt
knew?
with a cap. We know
You know,
now.
the first time I went to China, we tried to get some of these things. You couldn't buy anything like that anywhere.
No.
It's ridiculous.
No, there's a Big Mac on every corner.
I don't know where you even got this.
I got it in China.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's made in China.
No, I got it in China.
Yeah.
I got
Really?
it in Beijing.
'Cause
Yeah.
I could
Like
never find.
everything.
They started just,
Nowadays, you can get all that stuff. I got this hat in Russia, in St. Petersburg.
Really?
You'd never know.
Do you
looking
only
at it.
wear
This is a cheap piece of
authentically
crap,
sourced
this hat.
hats?
I
Leo?
only wear authentic hats.
You're like, I'm not going to wear a Mexican hat if it's not actually from Mexico.
You know where this hat is from?
That's got to be from Mongolia.
It looks like it, but it's Uruguay. Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's an authentic
I've seen those,
Uruguayan. They don't have motorcycle helmets. This is
What
what
kind
they
of fur
wear.
is that on there?
It's green.
I know,
No,
it's a green fur,
I
but-
think it's probably not.
It's a
Actually,
leprechaun.
I don't wear real fur. I should have
Leprechaun
told
hair.
her.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't.
please.
Fur is murder.
Fur is murder.
This is
Meat is
leather. This
murder,
is
and
murder.
fur is murder.
This
Oh, yeah,
whole
that's
hat
true.
is murder.
And I actually love steak. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about Audible.com now that we've alienated our entire audience.
Yes.
Wine.
I was going to try on the hat, but
Maybe we should do an ad here.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to do an ad for Squarespace, but I thought that would be poor taste to do it right after Matt Mullenweg was on. So I'll save that for later. Man, it's like a minefield, I tell you. Audible, do you know about Audible? Audible, AUDIBLE.com, 75,000 books. It's my audiobook source. I am a huge Audible fan. In fact, I pretty much don't get books in paper or Kindle or iPad anymore. I use Audible because I like to listen. And so many great stories. I'm reading. I'm sure you've read this, Gina, because it's kind of a chick book. Eat, Pray, Love. Have you read that?
Of course
That's
I
a
read
great,
it.
Wow.
wonderful book. You too,
That's
Joshua?
offensive.
No, it's.
Did you
it's a
read it,
chick book.
Joshua?
I read it.
I'm reading it right now.
Are you?
During the commercials.
You lie. I'm listening to
I
it.
missed the movie though, but I read
The movie was pretty good, and actually, that's what got me to read it. I thought this was good. I want to see them. I want to, I want to read the book. The book's even better.
Audible's great. You could hear "I Was" on Audible.
Well, we might as well, since we have the author on the show today, we might as well plug IWOZ, IWOZ. This is Steve Wozniak's autobiography, How I Invented the Personal Computer and had fun along the way. And somebody named Gina Smith helped him out on that.
That was me.
So how did that work? He dictated it to you?
This was Steve and I sitting in a barbecue pit in Los Gatos twice a week
You're kidding.
with him eating pie and doing magic tricks for every waitress that walked by.
He
And
loves. She's such a performer.
He is such a performer. I mean, and trying to keep him on topic. And I just had a tape recorder, and I did this for about 6 months. And of course, he's jumping all around and just trying to get all of that in a chronological
So it was the same
order.
restaurant each time?
Yes, it was the Hickory Pit.
Oh, I
in
know the
Los
Hickory Pit.
Gatos.
He has kind of basic tastes in food, doesn't he?
He says that he
He
will
likes the
only
Hickory
eat what a
Pit.
cowboy will eat. So I would say, well, would you eat sushi? Well, would a cowboy eat sushi? No, a cowboy wouldn't eat sushi. He eats.
Only eats what a cowboy
That's
would
his
eat.
rule. He
Wow.
said, if you
Japanese
ever wanna know,
cowboy might eat sushi. I don't want
That's what
to.
I said.
I just want to say, what a gargantuan effort. I've interviewed Steve and talked to him.
It's hard to keep him on track, isn't it?
And the idea of trying to do a book with him seems like a really challenging undertaking.
Well, Josh,
So-
I knew I was in trouble when Steve said to me right after we signed the contract, I've tried to do this 5 times before and have always returned the advance. And I thought, my God, I've
There
spent
goes the money.
advance. I just used it
That's
for a
what you do.
house payment.
Yeah, well, you don't
it's-
really have to return the advance.
Yes, well, we didn't.
John's an
return the
expert on
advance.
that,
But I'm never
apparently.
worried that Steve will do another book with another
Just a
writer.
little-
I don't think
John's
anyone
like, you
else
could take money. and
A little
not finish the
writer's
book.
tip here.
It depends on your contract.
You don't have to return the advance.
No, but
Hey,
just, But it's Steve's voice, and it's an authentic.
What, could you stop that, John?
What is
That is
this
just,
thing?
that is just rude. It's a hand.
What is this for?
What is that for, Leo?
Isn't it? What is it?
It's for holding pens.
Why does it go like this then?
John, stop shaking it like that.
This is why.
Audible.com, a great place for your favorite audiobooks. How I Invented. Let me play a little bit of this. Patrick Lawler reads it, and
he sounds just like
I was going to
Steve.
say.
Leo, he called me at my house and tricked me for about 5 minutes.
Sounds like
and I
Woz.
thought it was Steve.
It seems like it's Woz
The
reading
actor-
this book. It's
the
pretty
actor
amazing.
tricked
I
me.
remember sitting there and being so little and thinking, wow, what a great, great world he's living in.
By the way, that's exactly how Woz talks.
He goes, wow,
Wow.
gee, cool. Oh,
And I just want to say,
man. He's a great guy.
I love Steve Wozniak.
great
He
guy.
is completely
He's a great-
unspoiled
He is
by
the guy
his...
nobody dislikes.
Right.
Oh, he's lovable. My little boy is the only boy in San Francisco who can say my Uncle Steve invented the computer.
It's pretty cool.
Calls him Uncle Steve.
Yeah. Henry's
You think
met
he
him.
has one enemy? He's got to have at least one enemy.
Oh, he has an enemy. His name is Jobs.
Yes.
Oh, I don't think.
No,
Well,
I'll tell you.
well, tell the
True.
story.
Okay, well,
Tell the story.
Here we go. Story
Steve
coming up.
Jobs had promised to write the foreword for the Wozniak biography. So when the book was done, I emailed Steve Jobs and said, "Well, where's the foreword?" He said, "Send me a couple of chapters." I sent him a couple of chapters.
Your mistake.
Well, I had to send him the chapters.
You could have Bowdlerized.
I should have written 2 fake chapters.
Yeah.
Now that I know, in retrospect,
Yep.
I sent him 2.
He wasn't mean about Jobs in there.
He wasn't mean. I think he was.
He told the
truthful.
truth. He
was
told the
truthful.
truth.
Well, heaven forbid.
He told the truth, and it was very upsetting. And Steve Jobs called me up on the phone and said, "I'm not writing the foreword for this book. I'm not doing it."
Wow.
I thought he promised to.
I said, "Are you going to sue me?" He says, "I'm not going to sue you, but I'm not going to."
Sue over what? What was in there
And
that's-
then he banned us from the Apple stores, and he banned us from Macworld.
The
This
book.
is when Apple was involved. Us being I was, yeah,
Right.
the book.
I
Because
think
he
you had
didn't,
it coming.
Well,
honestly.
that's just
Sounds totally
deplorable.
justified.
and now I don't get invitations to iPad.
You are
events.
also, you
Yes.
are like me on that list.
Yes,
The blacklist.
The blacklist.
blacklist of
I bet he has a
Apple.
list like...
It's a fine line, it seems like, between not being on it and being. I'm like worried. And now I'd say, who knows?
No, because
Yeah.
you're the anti-Gizmodo, so you'll always be on the list.
Oh, that's true.
Good point.
I mean, is that
need
my
you
whole?
there.
That's it. I'm the anti-Gizmodo. That's why I'm
That's-
invited to Apple. That's
Only in the Apple prism.
Yeah.
Because because Gizmodo does not and will never again be invited to anything Apple ever does or
Never.
get any review units or anything.
No.
But because they still need a gadget blog, that means there's only really the truth is you're the king of gadget blogs anyway. But just you're kind of guaranteed that position because they need somebody there and it's not Gizmodo.
Right. But I'm
Gizmodo,
also-
John
I'm also
Pepper,
an
these things
excellent,
should all be banned.
reviewer and writer,
iRobot.
Leo.
Yes,
iRobot.
of course you've earned your position as the anti-Gizmodo.
The anti-Gizmodo.
Uh-oh, he's throbbing. He's throbbing. He's gonna blow.
Love that.
You know, we do more,
Love that.
than just. We're more than just not Gizmodo.
No, I know.
You're a lot-
We're
Many-
not. That should be
many-
the name of the blog. We're not Gizmodo.
But we are changing it to not Gizmodo.
Yeah, not Gizmodo. I
And
actually want to ask you about Ariana, but we'll save that for after the ad. We are still, believe it or not,
Still advertising.
we are
Still
now
an ad?
Still running ads.
This is the world's longest.
Audible ad.
Well, you know what? The Audible ads always get long because what happens is we start talking about a book and then we start talking and it goes on and on. But I should at least wrap it up and say you can get this book free and another book. You actually get 2 books free by signing up at audible.com/twit2. It's the platinum account. That's 2 books a month. And it maybe sounds like a lot. It's not. I go through 2 books a month easily. I love Audible. Audible.com/twit2. You can cancel at any time. The books will be yours to keep forever. And you will, books, unlike movies and TV shows, you really do want to go back and revisit a great book.
You know what's a great book is Indignation by Philip Roth. Listen to it on Audible.
Is it? Oh, see, Philip Roth is a great writer. Is he your inspiration?
Yeah, I love Philip Roth.
He just
He's right up
passed.
there with
Didn't he just
everyone.
pass away? I think he just passed away. So there you go. There's your 2 books. I Was and Indignation. No,
Indignation.
Indignation.
Like being indignant.
Okay, here we go.
Not like-
Indignation. You've been on the internet too much.
Not indignation.
Indignation.
Yeah,
That's a
funny.
Apple
There's a
trademark.
book. There's a book.
Audible.com/twit2. Try it today. You're going to love it. Actually, didn't Ariana... Now, let me ask you this. Is Ariana Stasinopoulos Huffington,
I love that.
who I interviewed before she was Huffington, so I had to learn how to say Stasinopoulos.
Yeah, you're good at that.
She had just written the Picasso book. the biography of Picasso, and I had her on. She talked. She was still was a great. She was a wonderful lady.
You need to work on that accent.
Yeah, you can do it perfectly. Go ahead. Let's
go hit it.
Ariana. What can Ariana say to Josh?
What would Ariana say to Josh?
Don't worry, Josh. We're not going to do anything to your blog. It's okay.
Is she nominally your boss?
Really, I do whatever I feel like.
Who was the Boris Badenoff and his assistant?
Sounds a little bit like Michael Arrington. I think, doesn't it?
That's my.
Now, I think Ariana might gut Michael Arrington.
Yeah, I think
she might gut him.
Ariana does what Ariana
like gut him,
wants.
like come up there with a knife and gut him.
No,
she oughta.
She oughta.
She oughta.
Attack him?
Well, ought to do something about.
I imagine after what Mike said about you, you wouldn't be loath to see a little knife battle.
I would love to see Ariana actually stab Michael Arrington.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
Hey, I'm with him.
I'd pay-per-view that. If you could get that on pay-per-view, like a cage match, I'd watch that.
Who would win in a battle?
Ariana always.
Ariana. So AOL bought Huffington Post.
Yes.
They've always owned you. No, they bought you from Calcast, Weblogs Inc.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. Pre-Joshua.
Yeah, way before mine.
Way before your time.
You were in high school when that happened.
I was a baby. I was actually in swaddling clothes.
And they also bought TechCrunch a few months ago. So now they've got 3 of the biggest blog platforms out there. But Ariana's got the one in charge.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's what
I passed. They said, do you want to be editor-in-chief of everything? And I said, the money, the acclaim, it all sounds so good, but I'm just not going to take the job. I don't think that's necessary.
No. You're content being the anti-Gizmodo. I think that's admirable.
Not Gizmodo.
Not Gizmodo.
I like doing the job was, of course, never. She's Ariana Huffington. She's got the job. But no, I love covering tech news. That's for sure.
No, you wouldn't want. Yeah, who would want that job? Her job.
What's weird is Engadget is so editorially. I love Engadget, and Engadget is so editorially crisp and correct and not selling off.
And that's difficult for a gadget blog. I have to say.
And they're selling, or were selling, I don't know what they're doing now under Ariana, but they were selling off editorial, like literally selling.
No. Yeah.
Absolute
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute.
Purchasing prizes from TechCrunch. And this
is this recently?
No, this
and don't you think, by the way, don't you think any company, I want to throw this out to everybody, don't you think any company that puts on a kind of exhibition of small little companies that there's a conflict of interest there? Because if they're going to be at their show, you're going to cover them.
Yeah.
So why don't you give me $5,000, Leo, and then hey, by the way, we'll give you some
kind of indirect.
We'll give you. It's all totally indirect, but it's completely corrupt, and it's just the way it is.
I think their conference business and their blog business are separate, though, are they not? I mean,
True.
I don't think that's completely.
It goes into this, but you don't think the same people put money in their pockets because of it, and it does benefit both the blog with people at the conference, and it benefits the conference if the people are covered in the blog. I mean, it's just a conflict of interest.
I mean, they're obviously covering brand new companies, and those same companies are coming to sort of pitch and show off.
Yeah, but who better to do an event like that?
I'm not saying the event's better.
That's their beat, so they know this stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's
part of I'm in a position where I'm defending TechCrunch right now. But,
I know. I think that's very interesting.
You're defending TechCrunch.
This shows what an honorable man it is. Let me.
I've just
okay. Well, defend it all you want. It's not going to change my mind.
Well, no. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I do think there's some separation of church and state there. I mean, we have advertisers who, I mean, this is maybe different. We're ad driven, right? We're ad supported. Sony advertises on the site. Does that mean, they're giving AOL money, which in turn is giving Engadget money? We cover their products, but I mean, obviously there's no influence there. I mean, certainly not on our staff.
By the way, I think TC50 is free to participate in.
John, you disagree with?
I think it's free.
Free to win.
Yes, I do. I totally disagree.
So you're saying, are we?
Wait. Let's go up a couple of levels and not even talk about you. Let's talk about NBC. NBC is not going to be covering any news stories slamming General Electric jet engines.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Or
when
the cable.
I was working
I'm sorry, the cable company.
Yeah, the Cable Town.
There you
Cable
go.
Town.
And to John's point, when I was working at ABC at Good Morning America reviewing what were then CD-ROM games, I was told you've got to review the Disney games.
Really?
Yes, and I said I can't review the Disney games. I can't.
Oh, it's kind of happened to me. Whenever I'm on Regis and Kelly and I have to play music, they always make me play Regis's albums. Is that the same?
Not the same. But if you had to play Disney music, it would be the same.
They always want me to. No, I'm not kidding. I actually had to buy Regis's album so I could put it on my iPod. So
really?
I'm confused, John. So you think it's got to be totally independent without any ads, or it's not going to be honest, or what?
Yeah, I mean, you got to support. You got to
have it.
Well, that's how they do No Agenda.
Did you say yes?
That's how they do No Agenda.
So subscriber base.
No Agenda's
free donations, free will donations.
I would have done that, but there's no way we could have built this.
Your model is the best.
Site on donations.
Yeah, we do just nothing but donations.
But it's not. I mean, it's not like it's a massive enterprise. It's just No Agenda.
No, but it's not bad. And the point is that
how much do you make?
I don't know. It's nothing to talk about. It's nothing to brag about. But the point is that it's a show that we can take on. We can talk about. You can't talk about anything anti-drug companies on any network television because they're basically bought and sold by.
But we've got no. I can tell you this.
You have a Chinese wall between advertising and editorial.
That's what everybody says.
I would say beyond zero input from our ad team on anything we do on the site.
That was the way it was at Tech.
No, that's fine because we do that at PC Magazine too, and MarketWatch is the same way. But the fact of the matter is, I've said this before as a writer who's been doing this as long as anybody in the room. The fact of the matter is, if you are working for a publication and the largest advertiser you have, let's say it is Sony, and they're contributing maybe 50% of the income of the entire operation, you're never told to ever say anything bad against Sony, but you just decide on your own as a writer that you're probably better off in terms of your career future not to go slamming Sony because they're like keeping the company in business.
It has a chilling effect.
There is no question in my mind that this happens at every publication.
Yeah, it doesn't happen with us. I mean, I can tell you that. We've slammed plenty of companies that pay a lot of money to advertise on our pages. I mean, it's just our attitude that we are.
Well, I mean, everybody, you say that to a point. When a company gets really big, it turns out to be, people are more circumspect. They don't go out of their way to slam people. I mean, it's just...
Well, I have to say, I'm not going to slam Ford, but that's one of the reasons we try to get as many non-tech companies as possible.
Well,
that's it. I mean,
you do. Well, that's true. You're doing non-tech stuff.
Yeah, but we do a lot of tech stuff, too.
Your advertisers
but now Ford's becoming a tech company.
I know. Well, one of the reasons Ford advertises on here is because they really consider themselves a consumer electronics company.
Right. You're totally screwed.
I'm screwed.
How this
you don't overdo it. I mean...
Yeah, how this whole thing started was I was saying to Josh that I was amazed, frankly, that Engadget, which seems to be so editorially respectable, you guys do have a great wall between advertising and edit, next to TechCrunch, where there is no such wall that I've observed.
I mean, I'll say this. TechCrunch does something that we don't do and that I see other sites do. Giz does it, Business Insider, a few other people. And it's just something we don't do, which I've never fully understood, which is this sort of guest writer thing and the syndication and guest writer. Those are ones that I have a lot of trouble with, just on a personal level.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
It's like having a vendor come in and pretend they're a journalist.
Yeah. It's like sometimes I'll have somebody from a company come on and write sort of an editorial about I don't know why some service has helped their business or certain aspects.
It's not clearly labeled. It's an advertorial.
Well, if they're getting paid or if they're doing it, or there's issues. There's issues. I know.
So that was my question.
But I don't know if those are. I don't know how how you vet the. I don't know how edited those are. I don't know how much the people who are writing them are vetted. I mean, maybe they're vetted really, really hard. So it's like these guys are writing straight up from the heart, and it's not something that is.
Well, I used to do something when I was the editor at InfoWorld years and years ago. I used to pull this trick because our page count would vary so radically that the editors at the end of the day, or the copy editors and the people putting the managing editor would say, we need 40 more pages. And I always had a bunch of stuff under my desk that was actually written by vendors. And what I would do is I'd solicit a vendor, like, let's say, a hard disk company, Micropolis, let's say, which is they're out of business, Siemens. So I can say this. And I'd say, I need an article on everything you know about hard disks and where they operate and everything. I want all the technology. I need like a 20-page or 15-page or 5 pages on hard disks. And they would write these articles, or the public relations company would, and they'd be a bunch of promotions in there for Micropolis. We would have the editors, I would take all the references to Micropolis, all of them, without exception, out of the piece, and then run it. And of course, then they would come in and they would complain.
I was going to say they're not doing that again.
No, that's not the way it works. Here's the trick for you editors. So I usually have a speakerphone. I bring a bunch of people in for one of these meetings to show them how it's done, and the person would come on and complain bitterly. We wrote all this and we spent all this money to promote this thing, and you took all the references to our company out. And I would say, oh, we didn't mean to do it. If you give us another piece,
just do it one more time.
One more time, then we'll try. This time we'll do it right.
You're like, I didn't look at that one before.
And you just you could do it over and over again. It's like Lucy and the football.
It's like Lucy and the football.
And it worked great, and there was like no conflict of interest is the way I saw it.
I can't imagine. For us, I mean, we do a lot of training with new writers, and even if you're like an experienced writer and you come on, we still go through this sort of Engadget program. Like we have certain ways you source things, certain ways places that you look when you're trying to investigate something, ways that you describe certain things. And so I can't imagine just letting some person, anybody, write for Engadget that wasn't trained by the editors of Engadget.
Exactly. Well, we had a lot of outside stuff, and the thing that we had an unbelievable group, which they don't have in these magazines anymore, of
freelancers.
hot copy editors that could just turn everything into exactly
the right style.
The right style.
I can pretty much guarantee that
I remember the days
blogs
of copy
these
editors.
days probably, maybe with the exception of Engadget, don't use copy editors.
We don't have copy editors.
Yeah.
These guys are high-end copy editors.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, who can afford
copy
that?
editors.
I don't know. What is that? Yeah. What do they do? They just sex it up? I don't
know.
They fix the commas.
They fact-checked. They correct it. They rewrite it to standards.
They rewrote it to the style of the magazine.
Exactly.
So it's
right. Well, that's what we train. That's the training, is that we have a style. We have a guide. We've got this is there's ways of doing it and ways of not doing it. So everybody's supposed to be trained in that way. The idea is that's why they're all editors. I mean, I actually believe in the idea of calling these people editors because
that's interesting. All your writers are editors?
That's interesting.
Everybody who writes is an editor because they can edit themselves and they can edit someone else. And they do both of those things.
Yeah. I don't know. Every writer needs an editor. I'm in the process of looking for freelancers and for columnists, and I'm trying to find people who are good enough to where they don't need a ton of editing.
It's not that easy.
And it's not that easy to find quality contributors.
I've always welcomed any editing that I was.
It's a lot of
extra work. I love to have an editor.
A good editor makes a difference.
A good editor is a great
You like being edited.
I love being
edited. I don't like being edited, but I tell you, every time I've had good editing, I've welcomed it. It's been an improvement.
I'll tell you, when I write
good editing means you come out looking like you look better.
Look better, yeah.
Your byline shines.
We do kind of group editing. I mean, when I write a review or an editorial, when I've got my draft, I say, everybody get your eyes on this. Like, take a look at this. Does this make sense? I mean, I think everybody on our team, at least the input of everybody, is really valuable. So it's kind of it's not editing by committee, but once I've got something or somebody else has something that's nearly finished or ready to go out, we all take a look at it and sort of pick it apart a little bit. I think that's pretty valuable.
No, the more eyes on it, the better.
All right, back to the tech news. Apple negotiating. Well, I think people enjoy it, but I think it's time to say Apple.
Snooze fest.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far. I was having a little nap, but
he zoned out on us.
Well, you notice I'm a little shorter than I was at the beginning of the show.
Yes,
Apple is negotiating, according to Bloomberg, for unlimited music downloads.
Yes,
a new business for Apple. And providing free backup.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
They finally admitted that their North Carolina network facility that they've been building, that big network operations center, is for iTunes. Maybe that's would the music industry give Apple that much power? They've resisted it all along.
That article by Bloomberg is sourced by 3 anonymous sources,
that's what
which
they
is
say.
the journalistic gold standard, right? And,
3 anonymous sources.
3 anonymous sources saying the same thing.
Might as well just have one.
Yeah, well,
or it could be the same guy doing different voices.
You need 3.
I'm number 2.
I think it's really exciting news.
2 of the 3 said mid-year.
That's right.
That an agreement may be announced. I think, though, that this could be one of those things where, yes, they're in talks, but it'll never happen because the record industries are scared to death of the power iTunes wields, don't you think?
Well, because you look at how quickly CD sales are falling, and
so they need iTunes, you think?
They desperately need to be playing in the digital game.
You have any sources, Joshua? Is this?
Do you have 3 unnamed sources so you can?
I actually have 4 unnamed sources.
4. That's great.
No, look, but here's the thing. Streaming is where all this stuff is headed. Apple is late on the cloud. They're late on streaming services. They're late on syncing and backup and all that stuff in the cloud. I think that it's not unrealistic at all to imagine a future where they offer a service like Rdio or Spotify or one of these things.
Well, they bought Lala. That's exactly what Lala did.
That's right. Well, and also they've introduced streaming with the Apple TV. They've shown, hey, look, we can do streaming. So they're headed somewhere with this. They're changing their mobile me service in some way from the looks of things. So I think that it's not crazy to imagine a future where Apple's giving you a couple of options. They're saying you can buy records. You can get a streaming, this a la carte. I mean, you have to remember, when it comes to streaming, if Apple controls the pipes and they control the software and they control the hardware, music companies have nothing to fear. I mean, really, this is Apple, right? They've already started making them tons of money in music. Why not?
They've
why
already
not
lost. They've already
music
lost.
companies have nothing to fear from Apple.
They have nothing to fear.
It's like saying
The only thing they have to fear is continued profits. I mean, I think Apple is helping them make money now.
That's the only way.
It's like
it?
nuclear weapons only in the hands of like two countries.
You have nothing to fear because you can't help it. I mean, this is where it's headed. But
that's right.
I mean, before iTunes, these companies were having a real hard time figuring out how they were going to make money in the digital world, right? And now they figured out a way. I mean, maybe CD sales are dropping, but MP3 sales are going up and up.
That's right.
So these guys have no choice. I mean, what are they going to do? What's Sony going to do? Start a new service?
Right.
I mean,
yes, that they already did that and it didn't work.
I know. Right. Of course, everybody's going to start a new service, but the fact is that the iTunes is the largest. Again, I'm not a fanboy. This is facts. They're the largest music retailer in the world.
Right.
They're selling tons of music. And if they decide that there is an option that's good for them and good for their bottom line and maybe good for consumers as an aside, they'll probably go for it. And I think streaming stuff is definitely happening. I think that's where this industry is headed.
Yeah, there's no doubt that it's happening.
You can now get Netflix on the Nintendo 3DS. I mean,
I love this that they announced that at GDC, right across the street from the Apple announcement.
Yeah, at roughly the same time.
So my company owns GDC.
But not 3D content.
No, just
regular movies.
Yeah, regular movies. Although if you've seen the 3DS 3D, it's, I mean, I don't know. It's not great 3D.
Nauseating is whatever you tell me.
Nauseating might be the right word.
Nauseating. That's funny.
I've yet to play with one. Everybody else on the staff has gotten their hands on it except for me. But everybody says it was kind of made me sick.
Well, they've got this slider, so you could turn it down if you could turn your nausea down.
The nausea.
I think it's going to be the problem with the
slider.
full when they get the big screen.
It's all crappy.
Well, 3D is a gimmick. I mean, everybody keeps trying to convince us that 3D is the next thing, but is it? Does anybody sitting here believe that they got to have 3D in their life?
No,
but I'll tell you this: I believe as a gimmick, it will be on all equipment because the cost of upgrading an HD TV to 3D at some point in the future will be 5 cents. The cost of one circuit within the chip.
True.
That's true.
No, I just bought a new TV and it's 3D ready.
Right.
If I want to buy the glasses and the content.
Right.
But I'm not going to do that because I don't care about 3D content.
You know what would be awesome? Charlie Sheen in 3D.
Charlie Sheen.
Winning.
Let's talk Tiger Blood and the Dick Bar. All coming up in just a moment. But first,
life is so easy in a square space.
It's time to talk about my friends at Squarespace.com. What are you looking at, John?
What was that?
That's called a jingle, John.
It was a
jingle.
Oh,
wow.
Sure. In the morning. Don't you have jingles on your show?
We are nothing but jingles.
That's what I thought.
All jingles.
Squarespace is the secret behind exceptional websites, hosting, and software that is second to none. In fact, their amazing Java virtual server technology means you will never get DDoSed. You will never go down because anytime they need more bandwidth, it's the simplest thing in the world to throw it at any site. It's a really remarkable system. But don't have to worry about that because really this is a service that anybody can use to create a website. All you have to do right now, go to squarespace.com/twit, click that green bouton that says try it free, and this is how simple. You don't need a credit card. You don't even need to be an American citizen. All you need is a site name, a password, an email address, a retinal scan, a fingerprint. No, just kidding.
You'd be like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This is all you need, the name of the site, the password, the email address. They do a little captcha to make sure you're not a robot, and that's it. Now, for 2 weeks, you've got all of the features. This isn't some limited feature. This is everything. And this is a great way to, let's say you have friends who should have a site, because everybody ought to have their own website, right? But they just never got around to it. Quickly, go to squarespace.com, set up a site, say, here's your site. You got it free for 2 weeks. Check it out. Alex Lindsay did this. He was at a restaurant. He said, how could you not have a website? How could you be a business without a website? And before he left the restaurant, before he'd finished lunch, he had a Squarespace site and said, here, it's yours. Do whatever you want. How could he do it that fast? Well, just take a look. First of all, 60-plus designer templates. You don't have to get into the CSS. You can, but you don't have to. You just pick the template, and it's really easy to make it unique with the sliders, the color picker, content width, all Ajax, very simple to do. You can add CSS and JavaScript if you want, but you don't need to. Then you've got a unique site. And if you look at the examples, you see that every Squarespace site looks different. And I like that. I don't want it to be a cookie cutter thing. But no, these templates are gorgeous and totally customizable. So whether you're a business, a restaurant, a photographer, an artist, you can get a site that speaks for you. Everybody ought to have their own website. You can have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, but if you don't have your own website, you're not controlling your name on the net. You need to do that, and you can do it right now for Squarespace for free, 2 weeks. If you decide you want to buy as little as $12 a month, that's hosting and software, everything you need, including all the bandwidth you'll need. Squarespace.com/twit. Try it today. You'll love it.
I got to admit.
Wait a minute. Now you can admit something.
I got to admit, I talked to Dane. I was on a show with Dane, one of the founders of Squarespace, and he gave me an account that I played around with, and I never got finished with it. And just listening to you and watching your little ad there,
cool.
It made me think. I'm using WordPress right now for my personal blog, and I never touch it because I can't get the damn thing upgraded, and I don't have time.
It's dangerous. Look there's so many security flaws in WordPress. I mean, I have a WordPress.
I don't have time to do it. So this is actually. I'm thinking like maybe I'll migrate over to Squarespace. And I don't think my login's working anymore. So, Dane, if you're watching.
Dane is watching. Dane and Anthony, we're going to take care of you. Joshua, absolutely.
Give me a call and let me know. I got to get back in and tinker around. But I have to say, there's some beautiful. There's some nice looking templates on there.
People are doing that about.me thing or the flavors.me to create a single kind of business card page. Just do this because maybe you'll put some content on it. Maybe it's more than just a big picture of yourself. Yeah. Maybe there's a reason to put a website up. I think there's a lot
of good reasons, and I'm glad that people are going back to that.
I hope they are. Actually, we should have asked Matt.
Return to GeoCities.
Well, he's got 18 million.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think there's a few.
There's a few people doing blogs, huh?
I know. I ran my credit card up, and my blog is down right now. Maybe I should migrate
Gina,
to Squarespace.
I can get you a Squarespace
deal. He can get you a deal.
I have a blog. I started in 2003, Josh. It's 2000. It's old. It's from 2000.
Hit this guy sitting over here in the catbird seat. Goes back to 1914 with a blog.
I blogged the Titanic.
It was on Stone.
Oh no, I blogged about the Titanic.
No, what was your first blog? 97.
2000. My first blog post was 2001. I had a website in 97.
Okay, you
first
had a blog
when we were doing the show. Yes,
back in the
well, no, but there wasn't the word blog back then, so I didn't know what I had. But you're right, of course.
But blog is very narrow. I mean, this.
Well,
I'm not. I'm not promoting Squarespace, but blog is like I'm doing like an online diary, right? Like that kind of blog has moved into. I think we're moving beyond that. This
could be anything.
You actually need a website. This is some way to do.
I mean, again, separate from the ad, and we're done with the ad, but I do think, and this is something I've been going out and preaching. I've been going out and preaching, which is so many people now. I see so many businesses that say, well, no, we have the Facebook page. Or individuals say, we have a Facebook page.
That's terrible. That's useless.
It's not good. You should not put your baskets
in. It's like, I love Tumblr. I'm a big Tumblr fan. But if Tumblr goes down, you're screwed, basically, right?
Yeah.
Every time we have this conversation.
Squarespace goes down, too, though. So we need to get our own servers.
I think you should have I think you should have a number of sites. But I just gave a lecture for teenagers on controlling your reputation online. And one of the things I pointed out is that even if you have no presence online, all it takes is one person to take a YouTube video of you barfing and putting it online.
Or taking a hit of salvia.
Right. And now all of a sudden, when they Google your name, that's what they find. So what you have to be is proactive. You have to create a presence on the web. I don't care who you are.
When we talk about web presence, Leo, this brings me, we always come back to this. And Josh, Leo and I were in a hotel room once. This must have been 95.
What was this about?
93.
This is getting good.
Somebody was showing us the web for the first time. We had never seen a website. And somebody said, come up to my room. I'm going to show you this thing that's laying on top of the internet.
At least that's what he called it, the
and
web.
Leo said, well, there were like 10 websites up.
Let me show you
Leo
something. Now, if you take your top off, it can scroll faster.
And then Leo said, I wish we could go out and buy a bunch of these names like McDonald's.com.
Oh, you didn't do it?
And I said to him, that wouldn't be...
Art.com, $1 million.
We can't do that
It's her
as journalists.
fault. It's her fault.
I said, as journalists, we can't do that. I'm the idiot.
You're the idiot.
I'm the idiot. Now, eggs or whatever.
Art.com sold for $1 million, and a lot of them sold for $1 million.
But we could have bought. We thought about buying.
Well,
like, let's buy 200.
you want to make
and Art.com is sold to. I mean, I don't know what it is.
It's so
probably
depressing.
a spam site full of scraper content and
Well,
links.
you know what?
We were going to get sex.com.
You know what?
Sex.com's worth
we
something.
had
Millions.
a whole list.
You know what?
Leo
The real
$1
irony is the very first one I was going to register was Engadget.com.
Really?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
No.
Imagine.
That's bull crap.
Well,
No, they had to make up a
Byte.com.
name. That's how hard it was. Even by the time Engadget started, they had to come up with a fake word.
Sure.
Yeah.
You see so many weird names.
Yeah. No.
Like that Beluga, the messaging startup that just got sold. By the way, I love Beluga. I've got it on my Android phone. We use it.
What does it do?
It's a group chat. This is the hot top.
Like Yammer? Is it like Yammer?
It's not. Yammer's kind of like
Yammer's
Twitter.
more like Twitter.
Beluga's like group messaging, and you can
It's
put
like Skype or OC.
Convours on the web. Beluga's on smartphones. There's this new one, Yobango, everybody's gonna be using at South by. They're all launching for South by Southwest.
See, these names like Yobango exist because
you
we
can't
didn't
get
buy the names and sell them to everyone.
I'm telling you, groupchat.com. You could have owned it. These guys have a site that makes sense now.
Could have owned the everything.
Could have been a contender.
We could have been a contender.
Yobango isn't
so
great.
sad.
Isn't not
It's
a
like
great
Amazon.
name.
It's the Amazon mentality there, right? I mean, Amazon doesn't sound like books. What is that all about?
What
it
is-
works.
True.
Yeah.
Who has books.com?
Angry Birds coming to
Site.
Facebook.
Oh, great.
Angry Bird.
All right, let's talk about first Charlie Sheen. Did you watch last night?
I watched as much as I could stand.
Painful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Duh.
Painful, but
Duh.
116,000 people.
And then it dropped real fast. It hit 120, actually.
You wonder if
120.
he's just doing a Yakin.
No, he
Phoenix
had
here.
somebody.
This is all an act. It's
No,
gotta be.
I agree. I think
he's
there could be a.
No, there was a good,
just
really
too
good
much like a
analysis on
car
Good
wreck.
Morning America. They had the right psychiatrist on. He talked about it. He says there's a lot of people that are bipolar who once they get off of all drugs and medication, they have a long episode of manic craziness because because it just releases all this in them, and they go just it ends.
Well, there was a joke going around the internet. Who said this? Gaddafi or Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, no, that was one of the classics.
Exactly.
And you couldn't tell.
And you couldn't tell.
And I think that if we can all agree, let's just say the premise is this is real, right? That he's really acting
Let's just
like
say,
this.
let's
is not-
stipulate
Let's
that.
just
We'll
stipulate
stipulate
that.
that.
there's something wrong with him, and and everybody's enabling him. No, I mean he's sick.
We're all
He needs
enablers.
We should not
he needs
enable him. We should
actual
put him in rehab.
Psychological.
We're not
and
killing
medical
him. We're not
help.
hurting him.
I have to say, this is what Ustream was
that's what
made
people, what
for,
about Michael
though.
Jackson, where people hurting Michael Jackson by letting him be a completely addicted to drugs.
Well,
and his
it's not
family knew. Everybody knew.
I
right?
think the guys around him, his yes men that are surrounding him, are a lot more dangerous than the people that are watching him on the
It's not
US
sure.
stream.
No, but I don't think anybody is particularly helping by making his celebrity rise.
Yeah, but
because
what are
of
you going to do? I mean, the guy starts a Twitter account and
picks up $1.5 million.
Well, his
million
PR
and
guy
he went to
advised
three.
it.
People love watching a car crash.
It was
I mean,
Adley that started
Right,
it. Yeah.
right.
Voyeurism.
Adley recommended.
But so that's the
this,
point, Joshua.
yeah.
This is just kind of a natural thing. I mean, you can't. What are you going to stop it? Is Twitter going to say, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Sheen, we can't enable you. You may not have a Twitter account?
As long as he's not on the dick bar.
It wouldn't be funny if he died of a
him off
drug
the dick
overdose
bar.
today, would it?
No,
We'd all
it's not
think,
funny
wow,
at
this
all.
is
I don't
really-
think it's funny,
this
but
is
what are
actually
we
really
supposed to
screwed up,
do?
but we were laughing along with him, and now he's dead.
I'm not laughing,
And that's
but
very realistic.
what are we supposed to do?
Well,
mean,
I didn't
somebody-
watch last night.
Good
I
Morning
did.
America,
But I
USA
forgot.
Today, or whoever's interviewing him should stop.
Maybe
interviewing
that's the.
him.
Well, maybe.
That's it. I mean,
I think it's
you're
all
right.
just
It's like a
these
train
things
wreck.
come and go.
So what do you think about the Dick Bar? Do you know about the Dick Bar?
It's the
Think
new
about the
status bar on the iPad iPad or the
Twitter client on
iPhone. Twitter
now
doesn't
has
bother me that much. I know a lot of people are upset about it.
Yeah, it does bother people, but I guess
it covers up your tweets.
that's one problem. Is that tweets are underneath the dick bar? They call it the dick bar because of Dick Costolo, this new CEO of Twitter.
Yeah.
And he's allowing advertised content.
That's part of the problem. Is the advertising
trends.
is always there, but so that's not so different from a lot of apps.
Somebody there might have been like, "We're not making money."
Yeah,
exactly.
Figure out a way to make money, and this guy was tasked with doing it. Now anything he does is going to be just look like a bunch
Joshua,
of crap.
that is exactly bingo. That's what I thought. Is this guy's got to find a revenue model, and now he's found one, and we're all attacking.
So there's one that says promoted. See, they got the promoted button on it. It's covering up my ability to tweet. And it says promoted to the right of it.
And they won't.
It's bad design. I think that we can agree on.
That's what's wrong with it.
The design is the big
I
problem.
like somebody in the chat room says it's the dumbing down of Twitter.
How can you get more dumb?
That's what I was thinking.
Here's what Twitter should do. If they want to advertise, that's fine. Give me an option to get the Twitter app for 99 cents that doesn't have the bar in it. You know, I'll pay 99 cents for that.
Yeah.
You can make a little money too. You can
you could probably buy a filter.
Model.
Well, you could use SeaSmaker, TweetDeck, or you just use something
just
else
don't use
on your
the Twitter
iPhone.
client. Yeah.
Don't use the Twitter client on your iPhone.
I think it's
and don't make eggs.
Well, they took the
mash.
Yeah, don't eat Mullenweg's eggs. Whatever you do.
I mean, actually, what they did was kind of weird, right? They took a guy who was doing an independent guy doing Tweety, the best, what I consider to be one of the best clients.
It was a
old
great
version, the non-Twitter version from my desktop, and they bought it. I think it's weird now that they're competing against the people who were making clients like SeaSmaker and stuff. It seems like one of the weirdest strategies to me ever that they want to own not just the pipes, right? They want to be the pipe, but they also want to be the front end as well. I think it's kind of a dangerous, for a company the size of Twitter and doing what they do, I think it's sort of a dangerous play because you lose a lot of, I mean, if you start to kind of eliminate the people who are supporting your product, I think it could be somewhat hazardous.
I got to say, though, this reminds me a little bit of Apple and
of Microsoft, of building in all those accessories into the operating system.
They made computers.
No, but in the sense that Twitter's so big that they can kind of get away with this, right? What are you going to do?
I don't know. I worked in the same building as Twitter, and all those guys getting their Ferraris delivered daily.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Are you going to stop using Twitter? Believe me, I'm the guy who's several times wandered away from Twitter.
Did you get it right?
You know, on the Engadget podcast a while ago, we proposed a new service. It's called S'more. It's 280 characters. And I actually own a few of the domains. But talking about buying domain names, I bought a bunch of like s'more.com domain names.
That's a good domain name.
It's double the amount of characters.
It's Twitter, but better.
That's right.
More.
Double.
Twitter plus.
Not really better, just double.
Just double. It's twice as good as Twitter.
Twitter X2.
Yeah, but I'm
the ads write themselves.
Twitter's built all the functionality from all those.
It's nothing to do with functionality. It's purely the network effect. And the problem is, and it's the reason people don't leave Google, it's the reason people don't leave Twitter, and it's the reason people don't leave Facebook. It's where everybody is. And as someone who has run away from Twitter and failed,
a couple of times,
it's where everybody is.
Have you come away?
He ran away, tried to go off in that. What was that other thing?
Jaiku.
Something else.
Jaiku.
Nobody was there, so you
can't.
No,
I mean, it was abandoned.
The issue is
somebody emailed me and said, "Leo, my only friend on Diaspora is Leo Laporte. Please come join Diaspora."
I'm also on Diaspora.
Another dog.
No, I don't like Diaspora.
I'll put you in my work friends group.
I'll join that howls when you boot
Maybe
it.
we could
Okay, one at a time. Everybody's talking at once. Nobody can hear a thing.
It's like a breakfast show.
We don't care. Thank you very much.
It's the
View.
I care.
And are you Barbara Walters?
Me?
Yeah. Well, who are you?
I would be somebody.
What's your View name?
I want to be that pretty blonde one.
Yeah. You'll be Elizabeth Hasselbeck.
Thank you. That's the one.
And I'll be Joy Behar. That makes sense, right? Kind of like a complaining, cranky,
Do you find it troubling that Joshua knows all the people on The View?
Well, he probably watches it. That's what I think all those guys at that company do.
You get to be.
Everybody at Engadget or AOL?
Both.
What?
What are you implying?
Leo is Whoopi.
I actually never. I just saw a little clip of it for the first time. I've only seen the SNL sketch, which I think is hilarious. But I saw a clip of it, and I can't believe how similar Elizabeth Hasselbeck is to the character that Kristen Wiig does on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
Am I just way off track now? Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
No, we don't.
I know what you do. I know what you're talking about, and she does a great job.
You
she looks just like her.
Anyhow, one of you guys is Barbara Walters, is what I'm getting at.
No, somebody's
Maybe
Whoopi.
Leo.
Somebody's
I must
got
be
to be
Barbara
Whoopi.
Walters.
He's the
You guys
interviewer of the
fight for
old
it.
And you're
timer.
Whoopi.
I'd be
There you
Whoopi,
go.
absolutely.
I'd be Whoopi.
I've had it with you. I'm walking off.
Did you say I'd be
No,
Whoopi?
She's
I'd be
cranky. She's
Whoopi.
very upset.
I
Silence.
think we have a title.
I think, yes. We have a title here. We
Um,
all clear our throats now.
I don't know where to go from that.
I don't know.
think-
We just have to get back our dignity after
Uh,
that.
Yeah, I
was
think
was
it's-
Scoble
this
was
has been like maybe
Scoble
Back to
says-
Scoble.
was Scoble,
What did Scoble say to
was
that?
Scoble right when he said that YouTube missed the boat by not having live streaming available to somebody like Charlie Sheen?
No, why does he say things like that? I don't understand.
That's
What does it
Scoble.
matter? YouTube, Ustream. I mean, yeah, YouTube's really hurting for money right now.
Yeah.
They missed their chance to
Yeah.
become big.
Last chance.
There will be another
by letting Charlie
opportunity.
Sheen live stream on YouTube. Well, how could they have done this?
Yeah.
What are they going to do now for money?
Ustream claims that more than 660,000 views were generated during the Charlie Sheen hour total.
So what did Scoble say exactly?
He said Charlie Sheen tonight will be on Ustream.tv, which could be a massive night for that video network. How massive? Well, he quotes Sheen's amazing Twitter growth. He says no one else, not even Oprah or Obama or Bieber, has gotten so many Twitter followers so quickly. I talked with one of the guys involved, Barry Schuler, who told me his partner Brad Wyman is the one who convinced Sheen to tweet. That's Adley, right? AD.ly.
Yeah.
And convinced him to break all the rules and get rid of the press and PR, go directly to his fans, which is probably the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do if you're sober.
But that's all
If
fun and
people aren't his
games.
fans, I think we're making that's a mistake right there.
It's
Go
not
directly to
fans.
his-
No, it's a
These aren't
car wreck.
fans. His fans watch 2.5 Men, and they
a car
can't
wreck.
stand what's happening.
Right. This is somebody watching a car wreck. This
This
is
is rubbernecking.
yeah.
Well,
You're
somebody in the chat room suggested that the only reason that a lot of people watched, they figured Charlie was going to kill himself on the air.
Oh, Lord.
Isn't
No,
that
it's-
sick?
it's pure-
sick. I just said it was sick.
It's terrible.
Sorry I brought it up.
So the
Think
thesis,
about how many viewers Ustream would have had if
right?
he'd done it.
Right. The thesis is that YouTube,
Now we're analyzing the
by
math.
focusing on big content companies and not offering its streams as Ustream does to normal people or to anybody who comes in off the street, is missing the boat. That it says Ustream, who should be counting their lucky stars, because the competition's ready. Amazon's going to go do live streaming and jump in and complete with Netflix.
That's right.
Netflix can do it, obviously, but he says Google he said this is one huge lever Google has. This is actually, I'd agree with this, to get us interested in owning a Google TV box, which they've not been able to sell,
No.
and getting us onto Android.
Well, but only if you think what you want to do on your TV is watch a
Charlie
live stream
Sheen.
of Charlie Sheen, which most people don't. They want to watch, at least for me, I want to watch a season of television
Right.
or, some
something
type of
that-
entertainment.
What do
that
you
isn't
use,
live Charlie
Something
Sheen.
produced.
What do you use,
Yeah, something
Joshua,
produced.
given that you've probably tried them all as a set-top box?
So I've been using the Roku box a ton because I buy stuff on Amazon to stream.
Yep.
I have a Netflix account and I have a Hulu Plus account, and that's all taken care of on
Yep.
the Roku box.
I agree.
But I just got a new TV, a Panasonic, which has a bunch of those services built into it. So I may switch to using. We'll see. I'll see how much I enjoy it. But
but I agree with you. Roku's the aftermarket add-on that everybody probably should get.
Yeah.
so it's was it $79
I agree.
bucks?
Yeah, it's cheap
And,
It's cheap.
and-
It's
Well, the
good.
$99 for the good one.
for the HDMI.
yeah, but it works great. I mean, I'm not trying to endorse them. I think it's a really great product at a really good price.
No,
I think
that's what I asked you. Yeah,
I think it's more
endorsing.
useful to me than the Apple TV. Big
I
time.
agree.
No, everyone has a Roku box. it
Roku's
turns
the
out.
way to go. Yeah.
My aunt has, I'm like buying them for older members of my family. So I think that's a
Reminds you-
sign that they're starting to they're hitting something,
I
right?
have a standing invite to go meet with the CEO and go have lunch, and I keep not doing it.
You should go.
I think I'm
You
going
should do
to
it.
try to do it as soon as I
Yes.
can
Get a
before it
channel.
becomes a
You
big
get a-
shot and he won't talk to me
Roku,
anymore.
I'll tell you, I'll give you a little,
Like Eric
a
Schmidt.
little
Like
insight.
Eric Schmidt.
Like
I
Eric
can't
Schmidt.
get a
Can't get Eric Schmidt
can't
anymore.
get a date with Eric
Yeah, he
Schmidt.
used to be available for lunch anytime you called him. Now he doesn't answer your
Yeah,
calls.
now I won't even take your
I
call.
did dinner
Lunch
with
with
Larry and
Obama now.
Sergey, actually.
Well, that's you. You're
Many
okay.
years ago when
Oh,
you
yeah,
could have
Many
those
years
days
ago.
are over.
Yeah,
When you
those
could have
days are
dinner
over.
with
I'm concurring with you. I'll give you kind of a inside story on Roku. We are available on Roku for download. We started streaming, and it took off so fast that we had to stop because it was starting to cost real money. And Roku is actually, I think, going to be for us very important as a video content creator. Even though we're not a big player, I think it's good for everybody.
That's
frankly,
interesting.
yeah. We have a Roku channel, but right now you can't watch the live stream on it because
you go broke.
I'd go broke.
What does Scoble think about this?
What does
Scoble say? Hi, what's your name?
You need a jingle for that.
Hi.
Do you ever have Scoble on? When's the last time you had Scoble on?
Oh, I have Scoble on all the time. I love
He's a
Scoble.
nice guy.
Everybody loves Scoble.
Oh,
He's like the
I
Wozniak
love
of.
Scoble, but sometimes like some of his stuff is he gets so angry about things that seem so insignificant. Like this Ustream thing. I mean, I understand his point.
He's a blogger. If you're a blogger, you got to gin up some interest. Yeah,
he's
like
he's a real blogger too.
He's a real blogger, right?
Yeah, he's a real blogger.
He's a traditional style, traditional pajama.
He's a early
blogger.
He's a proto blogger.
You know, he used to be the moderator of my chat room on the old radio show before he was famous.
No, really.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How was he as
I've
a
known
moderator?
Scoble for a long time. He's a great moderator.
Did he do our show?
It was when I was at KGO. It was right after our show.
Right after
It was when I was at KGO.
Oh, when you did the KGO thing, that was taken over by Bob O'Neill.
Yeah, 1990. No, that was KSFO. KGO was before that.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
No, this was
So I got to say, I think this group, I think this is a bad group to get together.
I know.
Because we're really tangential. I've noticed during this.
Oh, welcome to TWiT.
Yeah, you haven't been on TWiT enough. This is
all
nothing.
we do, Joshua. You come from an actual show.
Normally, there's a normal amount of tangential, and I think I'm not complaining. I love to go off topic.
Yeah, let's talk about Scoble some more.
Joshua does a great podcast, the Engadget Show, which everybody should listen to. It is not
It's two different things. There's the Engadget podcast and the Engadget Show.
Right. The show is irregular. The podcast is
once a month. The show's very regular.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
We do one a month, usually at the end of the month. Podcast is weekly. So we missed our last week. So
love it, and you can find it at Engadget.com.
I have to plug my X3 show.
What's that?
X3.mevio.com. Yes, it's plugging time. It's near the end of the hour.
We're wrapping it up, yeah.
Oh, okay.
X3.mevio.com, which is a small...
Means everybody should stop listening
small
now.
version. Yeah, well, they can fast forward
It's
if
like
they
an
don't
iPad
this bull crap.
announcement. Get rid of your current
I have to do this because Andrew...
No, I have one more thing, so
I have
stay
two
tuned.
regular guys. It's like a little round table with three people, and the same three all the time. And I have Andrew Eisner on, who's always complaining that I never plug the show, and because he needs the excuse to get out of the office to come do it on Wednesdays.
He's a great guy.
He's the CEO of Disney?
Yeah.
Andrew Eisner.
No, who is Andrew Eisner?
He's a very good guy.
Yeah, he's a very good guy.
Who is he?
He's with Retrievo now.
He used to be at
he used to be a PC.
CD Lab.
CD Lab. He's
Lab.
He's really as good as Josh in terms so far as analyzing from a go and visit the Apple rollout.
He's good at analysisizing.
Yeah, he's
analysising. He's as good as analysisizing as anyone.
As anybody out there?
Analysising.
Anybody in
I
the
gotta
biz
get a
today?
glass of wine.
We didn't drink much of the wine. Leo
it was
did, but
sustainable.
it was not very good.
I haven't tried it
It has
yet.
a nice aroma, but it tastes like crap.
I'm letting mine wait until
It's not.
I'm letting mine breathe.
Did you get it free? Are you not? Is this going to be a new sponsor?
No
that I'm
idea
screwing
where.
up for you?
No. We don't have a wine sponsor. We tried a wine sponsor for once. Remember that? And everybody got drunk, and that was it.
Am I plugging my thing now, or is that are we all done?
Would you? Well, first of all, what is that?
X3. One topic, three pundits.
Got it.
And so it's like x3.mevio.com.
Like times three.
Times three.
Yeah, times three.
X3.
That's a good name.
Sounds like a experimental jet of some.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are. We're experimental jet.
X3.
Sounds like a salvia.
Gina Smith is starting Bite back up. We're so happy.
Bringing Bite back, rolling the old girl back, and I don't mean me.
Back.
I think this is cool. I'm excited.
I am too.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Bite's
jazzed about
seriously
this.
old school, and I think this is cool to have like somebody get back into it who was a founding sort of source for
Well,
this
Jerry
stuff.
Pornell's going to be back,
Jerry
right?
Purnell hopefully will be back.
Tinny,
Hopefully
you got
John
Tinny.
Dvorak will be
If you ever
back.
call him.
I just
No,
talked to him
they
yesterday.
talked. They
Oh,
talked.
finally?
We talked.
Jerry
Jerry
was
Purnell and I are
complaining bitterly.
talking, and we'd love to talk to
And you're talking to
Engadget.
Tinny, right?
Love to talk
Steve
to
Sia.
Tinny.
Totally online though, right?
That would be something.
There's no physical magazine.
Tinny's still
correct?
No,
around.
there's no
he?
physical magazine. It's www.byte.com. We are looking for writers and freelancers and columnists of every stripe, and hope to set up deals.
And you've
with people
talked to
like
Tinny, right?
Engadget. I have not found Tinny.
Oh, I thought you did.
He should be
No,
online.
I found the original.
He did those great
cartoonist
covers. Yeah.
from Byte, but
That's-
not Tinny.
No,
Oh,
I
Tennant.
was going
You're
to say
talking
the
about
covers.
Tennant.
You got to do covers though.
Oh, Rich Tennant?
Didn't he do the original cartoons?
No, Tim.
No,
Tim.
Tenet was the InfoWorld. And
His
then
was
he went-
InfoWorld,
Then he
that's
went
right,
to
yeah.
something else.
Yeah, but Byte's back at any rate.
Rich
It'll
was
be back
great, by the way.
late April, May.
So excited.
And hopefully we'll be doing a Bytecast.
Yeah, we're talking to them about doing a podcast. Bytecast. Would that be
the
fun?
Leo empire continues to expand.
Yeah.
You've seen our new studios, right?
Not yet.
Oh,
I've seen the movies.
Got to take you on his tour.
I've seen the movies.
It's coming right along.
And there's a old power supply down there. I've been begging.
Well, I'm
you to
sure
give
that's
me.
long gone. If you want to
Well,
go
who would
to,
have taken it?
oh, I don't know. Maybe we still have it. You should
Black
see
Gold,
Roger, our
Texas
designer, is
State.
upstairs.
I just talked to Roger.
He's collecting stuff.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of Mickey Mouse gear and all kinds of.
Yeah.
He got a big Victrola. He's got all kinds of weird stuff.
If you go to dropcam.com/demo and click the new TWiT Studios, you can see a video.
That's cool.
We got a live spy cam in there. Thanks
And
to
so the
Sonic.
next step, I still believe, and I would recommend this, which is the New York studio.
That's next. But first, we got to do
with the apartment.
For John.
No, not for me. I just think it was something I could possibly use, but
For John.
Can you guys see what I'm sharing here? Because this is
look at
amazing.
that. There's a tinny cover.
How cool!
that's
how
a
cool is
tinny
that? You got to do art like that. I think that is so awesome.
That is the tinny cover. Look
my
at it.
favorite
gonna
one
be
is
the
the
big
train
challenge.
going through the
Like-
circuit. That's the
I love
classic
that.
tinny one.
Do you remember how every year was the year of the CD-ROM for like 7 years? This was the year of the CD-ROM.
The laser disc was the
Yeah.
year of the laser disc for a long time.
Byte.com.
Byte.com. And, there's
And
just a
you're
sub
not
there
going
now.
to South by? Are you going to South by,
No, I'm
John?
staying
C?
home.
I can't
Hiring
afford the
writers.
time.
All right.
You're not going either.
Joshua, are you going to Austin next weekend?
I am not going. Laura is going. Laura June, who's one of our editors, and we're also married, so she'll be there.
I don't miss it because it's
You're going. You got to.
It's so much fun.
You're going.
You have a
I love
huge.
Austin.
You have a
Austin's
huge setup. You're going to have a rig that's going to cost at least $250,000.
No, but we are going to Momo's. We're going to broadcast.
Is it $250,000? That's a lot of money.
No.
No, I saw the plans for it in the other room when I was
Oh,
roaming
yeah, that's
around.
yeah, we have a set.
A set. It's a
Love
big
this.
giant
You can hear
set,
Leo.
big
Listen,
studio
John,
set you're putting together.
You're really making Leo uncomfortable, I think.
I don't know
He's
why
turning red,
he gets
actually.
red because when he starts spending the big dough, and then he knows he still owes me a Air, which he's not going to give me. By the way, he's already said
A
so.
MacBook Air?
He didn't show up at our event that you said you would. So here's the stage plan. But this is actually quite nice. Roger did a good job on this. I can't show anybody because I don't have a camera. But in any event,
Here, give it to me. I can show the.
we'll be at Momo's on Sunday the 13th, a
There
week
it
from
is.
today,
In Austin.
in Austin.
Look at this.
It's like a huge.
That looks like it's
set,
going to cost at least $250,000.
Jesus.
and he's got all kinds of seats
More
and
than that.
cameras and people.
Jesus.
This is going to cost like.
You know who is coming though?
Ow.
Roger
The
Waters.
folks from Sonos, they make the
Yeah.
little speakers. They're going to make a Sonos sound wall. They got like 80 of them. They're going to set up a
That's-
sound wall.
And there's a plane that crashes, comes crashing in.
Yeah, it's just like Roger Waters, exactly.
Right, like Roger
Just like
Waters.
Roger
It's like
Waters.
a Pink Floyd
So
concert.
come
Wow.
to Momo's Sunday. We start at 1 with the Tech Guy show at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. It's TNT at 5 o'clock. It's Twitter, and then a meetup at 7 o'clock. But we will also be streaming live Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from South by Southwest with Brian Brushwood, Tom Merritt, Sarah Lane, Lisa Bettany, me, and a cast.
So you're
of
flying the whole
millions.
crew out, and Lisa too.
And Lisa
Easily
too.
No, she's there anyway.
Oh.
I got a free ride.
I remember
with
when I
Lisa.
was the only woman talking technology. Now he's got like 4 of these
He's got a
women.
bunch of them. He's
got
got
a
an
whole, like,
entourage of people
does.
that talk with him.
of female commentators. It's
all
amazing.
every bit as lovely as you,
It
Gina
just
Smith.
started with me.
Started with
Well, that's where he got the idea.
I know. He's like, we could clone Gina.
I bet you there's a bunch of women that like to talk tech.
That's exactly what he did. I feel so replaceable. I feel kind of sad now.
Why are you saying that? You started with me. You started doing a radio show. Then you went to ABC News. You became the ABC technology correspondent, a regular contributor to Good Morning America. You completely
Network.
surpassed me.
Left
You went
him-
network.
left him
Network,
high and
big
dry.
time.
That's old media.
You left me
That was a
behind.
mistake.
And I just
Old
kept laboring
media.
here in
And
the
then she would,
fields
by
of
the
new
way, she
media.
would take our calls during that era, as you remember. And she wore
absolutely.
sunglasses all the time and would say, "Go away, you're
said-
bothering
I
me."
had
when
a
you came
PR
up to
I had
her,
a PR guy. That
and she had a PR person that said, "Gina is not. She doesn't
Gina's
feel like
not
talking.
taking
She's not
calls.
talking to you today.
She's
No.
talked to another
She's
PR
busy."
class one
And
day.
by the way, would you please call her Ms. Smith from now on?
Exactly, that's what they said.
Zsa Zsa.
Zsa Zsa.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I just apologize for this show and hope that next one will be so much better. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing y'all.
Yo.
You guys are great. You guys are great. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Leo.
Coming up, Eats, Meets, Wets. No?
No.
No. I'm being told no. But I would like to show John's escapades. Here's a. We don't have the full thing out yet because apparently they shot like 8 hours of video.
And note the tree at the end.
But here is John C. Dvorak. It's on YouTube right now on our TWiT channel. John C. Dvorak in a little tease for what is to come with John's visit to Madrid to drive the Ford Focus. Good night, everybody. Nice J-turn. He looks so grumpy. And tired. Oh. Did you grow a beard?
With the strap.
That was just.
There they are, stealing the focus.
So is the TWiT ever going to go in the can?
Oh, another TWiT is in the can. You happy now?